administrative updates is fine, yeah. Okay, and we started to make this habit of announcing our current vacancies on city council boards and commissions. We have vacancies on the neighborhood representative of the Natural Resources Advisory Committee, a board member on the Architectural Review Commission, an alternate member on the Architectural Review Commission, an architect on the Barrio Latino Commission, a resident of Ybor City Historical District in the Barrio Latino Commission, and an alternate member on Code Enforcement / Public Nuisance Abatement Board. If you want additional information to see if there's qualifications for any one of those positions, they are available on the City of Tampa website. Yes, ma'am.
Chair, we also have a memo from Attorney Brody requesting that item number 17 be removed.
Item number 17 removed. Which one was that one? Okay.
Move to remove item 17.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco, a second from Councilman Miranda to remove item number 17 per Mr. Brody. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. And FYI, the clerk has notified me that we have issues with the electronic voting, so if we have a roll call today, it will be a verbal roll call vote. Okay, is there anything else on the agenda that needs to be dealt with? Anybody? Okay. Staff reports. Yes, ma'am.
Item number 65 is an agreement for the CRA, and we haven't really talked about this at the CRA, so I would like to continue this to the next regular meeting because we have a CRA meeting next week where we can talk about it.
Thank you. We have a motion from Councilwoman Hurtak, a second from Councilman Carlson, and I thank you because I tell you I spent most of my day yesterday having conversations about item 65, so thank you for doing this.
And that next regular would be March 26th. We do not have space. So how about April 2nd?
Okay, we have a motion to continue item 65 to April 22nd?
No, 2nd.
Okay, April 2nd. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
So number 65 then is off the agenda for
Off
today,
the agenda.
and it's continued.
Yeah, it's continued.
Thank you.
And then I would like to pull items 66 and 67 for discussion. Or I'm sorry, it's already there, so
Yeah.
I want staff. Yeah,
Okay.
staff.
So by the way, we do have an administrative update. Chief Bennett is under the weather, but we have staff here for an administrative update. Item 66 and 67, we do need staff. Thank you. 68. No staff for 68. 69.
Yes.
Yes. 70.
That's.
Oh, sorry, 70.
70.
Yeah, it's continues.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
71 has a draft ordinance, so.
Okay, so yes.
Let's say yes, it was
Yeah.
coming here for 71.
Okay.
Well, there's an ordinance, so.
Can I get a motion to receive and file items 71 and 73?
No, 72 and
72 and 73. Gosh, I am like blanking out. We have a motion, a second to receive and file 72 and 73. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it unanimously. Thank you. Anything else?
Move to approve the agenda.
We have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco to approve the agenda, and where's the second? We have a second from Councilman Carlson. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. I need another cup of coffee. Okay. Again, Councilman Vieira normally is here to do our police officer and our firefighter of the month. Councilman Guido Maniscalco is going to stand in for that this morning. Councilman. And for those of you that are here to provide gifts to the police officer, we have 2 this morning. We're going to do the presentations, and then we're going to invite you guys up one time only for the police officers.
Good morning.
Councilman Maniscalco, you're recognized.
Thank you very much. It's my honor today to present, we have 2 police officers of the month and 1 firefighter of the quarter. And today we honor the first police officer, Officer Troy Combs. And with me is our police chief, Lee Burkall, Dr. Chief Burkall.
Thank you.
That'll begin. Thank you.
Good morning, Council.
Good morning.
It's our honor to recognize Master Police Officer Troy Combs as the Tampa Police Department's Officer of the Month for February 2026. And he was on a much-needed vacation last month, so we apologize. But his personal well-being, we couldn't fly him back just for that. For more than a decade, though, he has served the Tampa Police Department with professionalism, dedication, and quiet excellence. For the past 4 years, he's been a vital member of our Special Incident Management Unit, where his leadership and preparation play a critical role in the department's most complex operations. Most recently, MPO Combs was instrumental in reviewing and updating the traffic flow plans for the Gasparilla Children's Parade and the Day Parade, which you know are the two largest events for the city, drawing in hundreds of thousands of attendees each year. MPO Combs coordinates the use and deployment of logistics such as meridian barriers to keep those events safe. He also oversees the planning for all 5K runs along Bayshore Boulevard and is currently assisting with the preparation for the 2026 NCAA men's college football, basketball, first and second rounds for the Final Four. These efforts ensure the major events are conducted safely, efficiently, and often without the public ever realizing the level of coordination required, which I can tell you is very tedious and extenuous from doing that job before. In addition to the event planning, MPO Combs manages specialty vehicle training within the Special Incident Management Unit, ensuring all personnel are equipped and always prepared for deployment. Early in his assignment, he led the comprehensive overhaul of our hurricane deployment plan, a highly detailed operation involving more than 1,000 assignments. He also contributed to the strengthening of security at special events throughout the city in response to the national threats that are coming our way. Through his attention to detail, commitment to preparedness, and unwavering dedication to service, MPO Troy Combs exemplifies the standards and professionalism expected of the Tampa Police Department. To some, his work may not always be visible, but its impact is undeniable, making him truly deserving of our Officer of the Month for February. Congratulations, Troy.
So we're going to wait till the next police officer comes up, and then there's a lot of gifts for both of you. So Officer Troy Combs, or MPO Troy Combs, Tampa City Council is honored to recognize you for your exceptional dedication, tireless work ethic, and outstanding investigative skills. Your commitment to reducing crime has made Tampa a safer place to live and a safer destination for visitors. Because of your dedication to service, commitment to excellence, and going above and beyond the call of duty, you have been chosen for this mark of distinction as Officer of the Month. Tampa City Council, your peers and superiors would like to commend you for your dedication and diligence, and we recognize your professionalism and commitment to keeping our city safe. For your remarkable achievements and unwavering commitments to reducing crime and enhancing public safety, the Tampa City Council is pleased to recognize you on this 5th day of March 2026. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. As the chief mentioned, I'm sorry I couldn't make it last month. I really appreciate you guys allowing me some time today to come and have me here. I also want to thank my corporal and my sergeant for writing the award, all of TPD staff for voting me as Officer of the Month for February. But you know, my job obviously is unique within the city. I don't do traditional police work. We do event planning primarily. So although from the write-up you may think that I do all the events, and it sounds like I do all the work, but it's really a team effort. I mean, I have a whole squad of guys and girls behind me that put the events together, and not only the department staff and my squad, but we also work with all the other city departments. Specifically, I don't want to leave anybody out, but Tampa Fire, Mobility, Solid Waste, Parks and Rec. I mean, without all the collective effort of all of the departments, the events would never be successful. So the award really goes to them also. So I want to thank them for their help with everything that we do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So
Appreciate it.
Don't go far.
Don't
Stay-
go far. We have more. So the next officer we have that we recognize for March of 2026, that was February, is Officer Matt Bennett, Chief Burkhall.
It's an honor to recognize Officer Matt Bennett as our Officer of the Month for March 2026. His recognition is a result of responding directly to residential concerns and quality of life complaints. He moved beyond the standard patrol and spearheaded a comprehensive multi-department, multi-agency initiative that improved the safety and the spirit of our community. Officer Bennett personally engaged with approximately 20 local business owners, fostering vital trust and partnership needed for effective community-oriented policing. By securing 8 new trespass authorizations, he empowered business owners with the legal tools necessary to proactively address loitering and criminal activity concerns on their properties. This operation led to the trespassing of 90 individuals from private and FDOT properties, along with 38 arrests. Officer Bennett's efforts also resulted in the seizure of a firearm and a significant amount of illegal narcotics, including cocaine, fentanyl, and synthetic cannabis. Through this initiative, criminals with active warrants were successfully apprehended, and the local delivery of illegal narcotics was disrupted, creating a safer environment for every resident. And this was in the area of 50th and I-4. I'm sure if anybody's been there, they had seen some of the blight that was there and the turnaround that Officer Bennett has made there. So he put an all-hands-on-deck commitment to this area. He coordinated with other city departments to clear debris from the roadways and public land, addressing some of the environmental concerns shared with him by the community. His tireless work ethic, community policing, and proactive leadership serve as a benchmark for excellence in the Tampa Police Department. His dedication to this initiative reflects the very best of our mission to protect and serve in partnership with our community. So congratulations.
All right, Officer Matt Bennett, Tampa City Council is honored to recognize you for your exceptional dedication, tireless work ethic, and outstanding investigative skills. Your recognition is a result of responding directly to residential concerns and quality of life complaints. Because of your dedication to service, commitment to excellence, and going above and beyond the call of duty, you have been chosen for this mark of distinction as Officer of the Month. Tampa City Council, your peers and superiors would like to commend you for your dedication and diligence, and we recognize your professionalism and commitment to keeping our city safe. For your remarkable achievements, unwavering commitment, tireless work ethic, community policing, and proactive leadership, the Tampa City Council is pleased to recognize you, Officer Matt Bennett, on this 5th day of March 2026. Congratulations.
I just want to say thanks to the City Council for having me here. This wouldn't be possible without a phenomenal staff, along with great supervisors and the officers that are with me on the ground, making sure that these operations are successful. So without a collective group effort, this would not be possible. So I want to thank everybody. Also want to thank my beautiful wife and kids for being here and always supporting me as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you both. It's a perfect example of what it takes to run a city and keep it safe. Two very different stories, but both very consequential to the safety, security, and the quality of life of the city of Tampa. And on behalf of the Tampa City Council, thank you so much. And I think we have a bunch of people that want to recognize you from the community.
Yep, come on up.
Morning, Council. Brandon Barclay from
Brian Ford dropped the ball again. This is why he's in the office and not on the field.
Brandon Barclay, Tampa PBA. We just want to issue a plaque to each officer for a great job. Thank you. Also from Busch Gardens and Pete Brevy, they're also giving you tickets to bring your family. Great job.
No fumbles here. Good morning, Council. Morning, Chief. Gentlemen, first off, you're both very humble. So what you do each and every day and what you do for our community is unreal, and the sacrifice that your family puts together. We have a little tradition at One Buccaneer Place, and on behalf of the Blazer family and our entire organization, we give out game balls. And hearing both of your stories, I've got your very own, but it's kind of tough with two, so no fumbles here. Officer Combs, thank you, and Officer Bennett. But again, thank you for all you do, the sacrifice, and what you do for our great city. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
So y'all remember when you're talking to face this way? I know it's kind of weird, but because of the microphone.
Good morning, Council. Jill Witecki, Tampa Theater. to repeat everything that everybody has said, thank you so much to both of you for making our community a better, safer, more fun place to be. And on behalf of Tampa Theater, I'd like to present both of you with an annual membership to come see us at the theater and hopefully celebrate our 100th anniversary with us in October.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
See, the performing arts people always get the microphone right.
Good morning, City Council. I always get in trouble for this, but I like to look these guys in the face. I appreciate and respect, again, I'll say it every single time I'm up here, all of you guys that put that uniform on every single day, that make the sacrifices for all of us to keep the city of Tampa safe. I appreciate all of you. Troy, I've worked with you for a long time, and Bill Curry, Matt, you too. The story with you, I met your dad before I met you, and your dad is a great guy, an apple don't fall far from the tree. Seriously, I mean that. On behalf of Bill Curry Board, I'll present to you a handwritten letter from Jennifer Curry herself. Thanks. With a gift card as well in there. Matt, you too. Handwritten letter from Jennifer Curry and a gift card. I appreciate you guys. Congratulations. Thanks. All right. Thank you.
Good morning, Council. Mary Dillon, Stratus Center for the Performing Arts. Officer Combs, Officer Bennett, thank you so much for your service. And on behalf of Stratus Center, please accept tickets to an upcoming performance at the Stratus Center with the beverage coupons. I think you're going to get some coupons for some dinners coming up here, so it would be a nice evening. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, Council. I'm Grace Gonzalez. I'm here on behalf of the Gonsmart family and the 1905 family of restaurants. And P.O. Combs and Officer Bennett, thank you so much for being here in Tampa and being so dedicated to our community. I know the challenges you face have just grown as Tampa's grown in 10 years. And just thank you for being here and being dedicated to serving what we're doing here in Tampa. On behalf of the Gonsmart family, I'd like for you to take these gift cards, enjoy an evening at the Columbia, see a flamenco show, enjoy ukulele while the weather's still nice. I know we're close by to the Stratus Center. It could be a fun evening. Thank you for everything you do, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Morning, Council. Mike MacArthur, Steps Towing Service. Congratulations on a job well done. Thank you for the sacrifice to our city. So on behalf of Todd Stepp and Steps Towing, I'd like to present you guys both with a gift card for some dinner, Top Golf, whatever your choice is on a gift card. So thank you for everything you do, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good morning. My name's Mary Lou Bailey. I'm here on behalf of Zoo Tampa along with
Mark Haney with Zoo Tampa.
So we wanted to thank both of you. I'm trying to follow Alan's rules and look this way, but I don't look you guys in the eye.
It's
and
not
killing
Alan's
me.
rules.
It's killing me. So anyway, I wanted to thank everyone for your work. I have so much respect for the police force. I personally want to thank you because I live a block from the Gasparilla Parade route, and things have gotten much safer for all of us that live in that area. And I know it takes a lot of people, but I wanted to thank you for that. And I want to thank you for taking on a really hard area of town and making it safer and better for everybody. You guys are all awesome. We're presenting you each with a lovely gift basket, and Mark will tell you about the animal story. But what's inside beyond the goodies is an annual membership to the zoo for you and your family, and it comes with the ability to come to our seasonal events like at Christmas and other times, and free parking, and that you can bring 2 guests. So I hope you enjoy it in good health and come to love animals as much as I do. Mark?
Well, let's see, we've got an elephant here. So an interesting way to tell an African elephant from an Asian elephant is African elephants' ears are shaped like the continent of Africa. And Asian elephants' ears are shaped like the country of India. So that's just sort of a little trivia fact. Wolves, you can't do anything without your pack. And we thought a wolf is a good representative of that.
Thanks
So
again for your
congratulations.
service.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, City Council, Chief Burkhoff, officers. I'd like to, on behalf of the Friends of the Tampa Riverwalk, present you each with a personalized paver. Officer Combs, Officer Bennett. There's a note on there for you because I wasn't sure of the spelling of your name. It was spelled 2 different ways, so text me and tell me the correct spelling.
Okay.
But we have a personalized paver engraved for you along the Riverwalk. Also, we have a variety of gift certificates in the envelope from different partners along the Riverwalk for you to enjoy. So thank you again for your service.
Thank you.
You're gonna have to pick this one up, honestly. I've got a helper here with me today, and her name is Avery Bennett. Gonna pick her up? There we go. Okay, Avery, we're gonna help your dad here. Is that all right? Yeah. Okay, we got Yummy House. Do you like Chinese food? Now, we're gonna help
Never
you
ask
out.
a question you don't already
we
know
got
the
Chinese
answer to.
food. We also have steak and hamburgers. You like those? And French fries at the meat market in Hyde Park? Yeah, how about that? And how about eggs? Eggs and grits? You like it? Well, how about going over to Daily Eats over there in South Howard? That'd be good? All right, and then Jackson's Bistro. I think this is really for mom and dad. But Jackson's has all kinds of good stuff too. But I really want to thank you for helping me here. This is wonderful that you can come up here and do that for me. I really appreciate it. And now we have for Officer Combs, you want me to go through the same thing? You get the same thing. You get Yummy House.
I like all of those.
You have to, you have to take Avery for breakfast over at the Daily Eats and Jackson's Bistro, and also Meat Market. You can go have hamburgers or steak or whatever you wish. But let me just say that I greatly appreciate the Tampa Police Department, all the men and women in the rank and file. They are great, and we appreciate them, and I appreciate them, and the businesses do every single day. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you all so much. Now we're going to recognize Councilman Maniscalco for our next commendation. You guys gonna go or stay? I don't know. Sometimes they stay. You can pause for a moment to let them clear. Did they ever get these give up? You know if they give up?
Did they get cleaned?
When they started cleaning, did they get working? Yeah.
You know what they say? Services.
Yeah, they are.
All white guys look the same.
It's up?
I didn't have my glasses. I thought that's perfect. I thought it wasn't. The guy looks like I don't know who he is.
I would have broke your window if it was.
No, but he did it. He helped her get in the car, and I'm like, good. The stuff that people don't see.
Councilman Maniscalco.
Thank you very much. Well, today, or this quarter, we get to honor a Division Chief, James Gilligan, and with me is Assistant Chief Todd Alt to kick it off. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, Council. Todd Alt, Assistant Chief of Operations. I'm filling in for Chief Tripp today, who could not be here. But I am honored to introduce Chief, where'd you go? It doesn't matter. Chief James Gilligan today, as he is being recognized as Firefighter of the Quarter. Chief Gilligan is the shift commander on the B shift, and I've personally known him for 28 years. So this is truly an honor for me. That stated, over the years, I've personally witnessed his passion, his dedication, not only to the city of Tampa, but to Tampa Fire Rescue and to the community as a whole. He was hired March 30th, 1998, and has dedicated almost 28 years with Tampa Fire, but he has over 30 years in the fire service. Over the course of his career, he has worked his way up through the ranks, serving as firefighter, as paramedic, rescue lieutenant, fire captain, district chief, and then to his current position as shift commander. He's always been one to step up and get involved. His leadership and his career reflect his longevity and commitment to the department and to the community. He's always been counted on for a leadership role, assuming command positions at the numerous special events throughout the city. He regularly takes operation leads at Raymond James Stadium, Benchmark Arena, and the Gasparilla events as well. Throughout his career, he's been instrumental with the Super Bowls, any large-scale event, and the Hurricanes as well. He's also an educator. Chief Gilligan demonstrates his leadership through teaching. He's been a constant advocate for training. He's worked at our skills lab. He's taught live fire trainings. And additionally, he is an instructor at Hillsborough Community College Police Academy program, teaching first responders CPR. In addition, he's a longtime instructor for the CERT program, which is the Community Emergency Response Team. And the list is going on here, but he's also an active member with the Regional Critical Incident Stress Management Team, or CISM, and that provides support for fellow responders after traumatic events. So this shows his commitment to health and well-being of our personnel. He's a member of the Florida Task Force 3 USAR team, reflecting his dedication to technical rescue. And he's also been a dedicated member of the Benevolence Association, currently serving as the treasurer, and he's been with the Benevolence Association for the past 10 years, serving with them. As evidenced by the example provided, Chief Gilligan exemplifies criteria, someone deserving of Firefighter of the Quarter recognition. He continuously displays his leadership, unwavering commitment to Tampa Fire Rescue, pride, esprit de corps, and I'll attest to this is both on duty and off duty. Family. Most important, his family is here today. Father, he's a father, his wife is here, and his 2 children and his 1 son. We just brought on as a firefighter about a year ago now, so coming up on a year. So we're trying to keep good people in the ranks there. So it's accumulation of all the events and all the items mentioned here, his leadership, his character, his dedication as to why he was chosen for Firefighter of the Quarter. Chief James Gilligan.
However you like. Okay.
So we honor Chief James Gilligan as Firefighter of the Quarter for the first quarter of 2026. Tampa City Council is proud to recognize you, Fire Division Chief James Gilligan, for your dedicated service and remarkable leadership in mentoring your fellow firefighters. You have exemplified a tenacious dedication to Tampa Fire and to the service of the citizens of our great city. Because of your dedication to service, commitment to excellence, and going above and beyond the call of duty, you have been chosen for this mark of distinction as Firefighter of the Quarter. Tampa City Council, your peers and superiors would like to commend you for this dedication and commitment, and we recognize you and commend your service to your department, colleagues, and to the city of Tampa. And it is our honor as City Council to present you as Fire Division Chief James Gilligan with this commendation as Firefighter of the Quarter on this 5th day of March, 2026. Congratulations.
Start with your name, please.
Good morning, Council, and all those in attendance today. I am truly humbled by this unexpected honor.
Can I stop you for a second? Can you start with your name, please?
I'm sorry. James Gilligan, Tampa Fire Rescue. I am truly humbled by this unexpected honor and would like to thank you for the continued support of public safety in the city of Tampa. Our citizens, visitors, and our members deserve the support that you and city administration provide. In preparation for today, I asked my father what he felt was appropriate to add to today's remarks. He quoted 17th century author John Donne, "No man is an island, not even a Gilligan." He also spoke to servant leadership, live for others through service above self. I would not be here today if it were not for the love and support of family and friends. Some were able to be here today in person and others in spirit. For as long as I can remember, I've wanted to be a fireman or a cop or a New York Jets football player. Well, the story has been written and here we are. This honor is one that I share with my personal family as well as my fire department family. I would like to take the opportunity to recognize my father James, mother Estelle, sister Carol Ann, my wife Danielle, son Patrick, and daughter Brianna, who are here with us today. As you may notice, Patrick is following the tradition and is a member of Tampa Fire Rescue as well. Brianna is currently enrolled in the RN program at USF, Go Bulls, as an alumnus myself. I was raised in a household full of love and faith, guided by the calling to take care of others above self with a compass reading of true north. Danielle and I have raised our children with the same mindset. Over the course of this career, I have been so fortunate to be surrounded by outstanding men and women who dedicate themselves to service delivery with excellence and compassion. The submission of this award was authored by my fellow chiefs on the B shift. I am not sure that I am worthy of the recognition, but I'm sure that the words written and the sentiments are real. I truly thank them and the awards committee, including the fire chief, for this honor and recognition. I have shared with members throughout the years that we are rewarded handsomely for our certifications and qualifications, but we are judged and evaluated by our service and professionalism. Please be mindful of both. This Firefighter of the Quarter award is one of tradition and recognition of service. I accept this in recognition of those that have come before us, those that are here with us today, and those that will surely come after we're gone. I stand before you grateful and appreciative of this amazing honor. I am thankful for the love and support from family and friends. I pledge to commit to work tirelessly to ensure all of our members go home in the morning. Thank you for your time and generosity.
You want to recognize your family? Where's your family at?
My wife, my father.
You guys want to stand?
My wife Danielle, my daughter Brianna, my son Patrick, and my
Very
mother
nice.
who's upstairs watching down upon us.
Okay, very good, very good. Welcome to Tampa City Council.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Okay, does council want to say anything? Okay. Mr. Maniscalco, would you like to recognize our guests? Come on. 7:54 in the house.
Hey, good morning, Chair, Tampa City Council, members of the public, city staff, and most importantly, the Gilligan family today. It is truly an honor to stand up here next to a chief, a gentleman, an awesome human being. Just shy of 15 years ago, I'm going to try to hold back any tears. Just shy of 15 years ago, my first day on the job, I was thankful enough to be under the wing of Chief Gilligan as my first captain for 2 years. And it was truly an honor to work under his leadership and his expectations. He held the highest standard, and he expected everyone to know the rules, and follow the guidelines, but he also did the same. Some of his mottos were to, as a captain of a fire station with his firefighters, is to make sure that the rules were followed and that not one would file a grievance against him. And that was what he lived by. But he also did just that. He didn't just talk the talk, he walked the walk. Most importantly, at 21 years old, being in a fire station and being young, he took me under his wing and he taught me life experiences as well as some others here that were part of the crew in the back. So this is truly an honor to be here and to honor Chief Gilligan on something that is so well deserved for the type of person and leadership that he's instilled in Tampa Fire Rescue to give back to this community. And Chief, it is an honor, and the Gilligan family and Patrick and Danielle, congratulations, brother. And on behalf of Busch Gardens, 4 complimentary admission tickets to enjoy with you and your family. Thank you. Absolutely.
Council, Chief, again, personally, I want to thank you for all your efforts at Raymond James Stadium, your leadership, your dedication, and making Raymond James Stadium a place that we all can prosper and come to for big events. Without what you and your team do, it just doesn't happen. But today it's all about you, and excellent speech, and that, I didn't expect anything less coming from you. But on behalf of the Glazer family and our entire organization, I just want to thank you and your family for the sacrifice that you put out each and every day, and the leadership and the mentoring and what you do. So we got a little game ball with your name on it. We can't fumble it. I only got one. But, thank you very much.
We have an alumnus of the Buccaneers.
Yes.
Alumnus of the Buccaneers, you know?
So I can't step away without asking the Jets. I'll leave it with that.
Good morning, I'm Mary Lou Bailey, here again on behalf of Zoo Tampa and its Board of Directors, and this is...
Mark Haney with the zoo.
Thank you for your service. What a story. You're involved in so many things, clearly going above and beyond, and I can tell you're very disciplined, which is something I greatly respect. But I wanted to thank everyone for serving, and thank the families that support you. It's awesome. We have for you an annual membership and some goodies that Mark will explain, but there's an annual membership to the zoo for you and your family and 2 guests. I hope you enjoy it in good health. And thank you again for everything that you do. You're awesome.
We've got a red fox in here, and I don't have much trivia about a red fox except that, and I said this last time, so those of you that have been here, we just got 2 red foxes at the zoo, and they're darn cute. So come and see us.
Good morning again, City Council. Mary Beth Williams, Executive Director of Friends of the Tampa Riverwalk. Chief, thank you for your service. On behalf of Friends of the Riverwalk, we would like to present you with a personalized engraved paver along the Riverwalk. Additionally, there are a variety of gift certificates from some of our partners with restaurants and attractions along the Riverwalk for you to enjoy with your family. Thank you for your service. Yes, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Good morning again, Council. Jill Witecki, Tampa Theater. Chief Gilligan, clearly you have found your calling. So thank you for bringing that passion, that dedication, that knowledge for the benefit of our community. So on behalf of Tampa Theater, I'd like to present you and your family with a gift membership so you can come see us for a film, for a live show, maybe even a 3-hour tour.
Wonderful, you got it.
Good morning, Chief. Good morning, Council. Mary Dillon, Strass Center for the Performing Arts. On behalf of Strass Center, Chief, thank you so much for your work in our community. Please accept tickets for upcoming performance and take guest or friend, family. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you so much.
Morning, Council. Mike MacArthur, Steps Towing Service. Chief, congratulations on a job well done. Thank you for everything you're doing for our community, and your passion and your story after 28 years on the job is refreshing, and I just really thank you for everything you're doing for our community. So on behalf of Todd Stepp and Steps Towing, I'd like to present you with a gift card. Take some time off, enjoy it, and I have to say Jets. Also.
It's a childhood thing. It's a childhood thing. Had to be true. Had to be true.
Keyword there was.
Good
morning.
Good morning again. I'm Grace Gonzalez. I'm here on behalf of the Gonsmart family and the 1905 family of restaurants. Thank you for being here in Tampa and for sharing your leadership and sharing your integrity with Tampa. Thank you. We want you to enjoy yourself, you and your family. Thank you for your sacrifices. Please enjoy a lunch, dinner at neighbor restaurants and just relax.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
Thank you.
See, I was gonna ask Brianna and Patrick to come up, but they're too big. I can't,
I can't carry them anymore.
It's not
I
like
probably
Avery,
could.
you know. Avery's a little girl. So anyway, we appreciate you and your family on behalf of a variety of different businesses. We're gonna provide you with your choice, breakfast, lunch, or dinner over at the Yummy House and CRG, Jackson's Bistro, and Meat Market over in Old Hyde Park. So again, we appreciate everything that you do every single day, and you ought to change the motto to Tampa Fire Rescue to Ever Ready. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
all. And we're going to allow the room to shift a little bit, and we're going to bring some other people up for the next commendation. Pop it down. Yeah. Good job, Guido.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's there. I think he picked them up. Somebody picked them up. I wouldn't take it.
By the way, if you caught the 3-hour tour, both years started with 1-9.
Oh, well, good morning, everybody. Come on, fit in. You're good. I need to get on to the side. Y'all were, what's her name? side of the bachelors and Carrie Jackson up front. You good? Okay, yes, ma'am. I just want to make sure. Come on in, babes. Come on in.
Keep going.
You in the middle. You can't. Oh, you trying to hide. You two have to be. Okay. Yes, ma'am. President.
Now I'd like to recognize Councilwoman Young for another very special presentation.
Good morning, Council. So this morning is truly an honor and a privilege to celebrate the ladies of Beta Sigma Zeta chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. I was practicing because I was not going to mess that up, okay? Incorporated for their 106 years of excellent scholarship, community service, and sisterhood. Since the chapter's beginning in March of 1946, this remarkable sisterhood has remained committed to uplifting communities and empowering women and creating a legacy that continues to inspire generations. So it gives me great honor to be able to present this commendation this morning. It says Beta Sigma Zeta chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Since its chartering on March 9th, 1946, Beta Sigma Zeta chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated has distinguished itself as a public service organization committed to addressing the challenges facing African Americans and the broader community. Over the years, the chapter has maintained a strong presence throughout the Tampa community through outreach and service, partnering with organizations such as the NAACP and the Spring of Tampa Bay, while also working in conjunction with the Tampa Housing Authority to support community events and initiatives that benefit local families and residents. The chapter also played a pivotal role in the chartering of the University of South Florida's Alpha Eta chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Annual chapter projects include elder care, Adopt a School, Christmas with the Zetas, Blue and White Feeding Tampa Bay, and first responders recognition, as well as providing scholarships to high school seniors in Hillsborough County. Beta Sigma Zeta chapter has received numerous awards at the state, regional, and international levels in recognition of its commitment to service and community impact. This chapter is comprised of a diverse and talented membership, ranging from sorors who are just beginning their post-collegiate journeys to seasoned members whose experience continues to provide guidance, leadership, and support to the sisterhood and their community. The City Council of the City of Tampa is honored to present this commendation and joins the Beta Sigma Zeta chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated in celebrating 106 years of sisterhood in 2026 and 80 years of service as a chapter, while continuing to uphold the principles of scholarship, service, sisterhood, and finer womanhood. Beautiful, beautiful. If you want to say anything? You want to say something, Ms. President?
I really don't want to.
I think I see two very familiar faces standing behind you. I think you should bring them up front and introduce them.
Let them speak. I don't know.
Come on. Tanya, Suling. Okay, I didn't realize this group was going to be so like quiet.
She's gonna say something.
Okay.
That just shows you the quality of women that we are. You see it every day here.
We do.
Now, Tampa is home for us, and we're not going anywhere. We will continue to support and help and reach out, even though we are a huge international organization. Zeta has over 800 chapters worldwide, and they've done things like build wells in country where they don't have clean water, so that people have clean water. We've done stuff with schools. Here, we not only work with the Spring, we have American Red Cross, the March of Dimes with the Preemies program, the VA with their veterans. So we're some busy folk, even the ones of us that are supposed to be retired. I think I'm still working. But thank you for this honor. We do it because we love people and we love Tampa.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Can you state your name for our record? Could you state your name, please? Yes.
I'm Bernadette Washington.
Thank you so much. Well, oh, there we go. Thank you all so much. I know that Sue Ling and Tanya, and I see Fran back there. We're very happy that you guys were going to be here today. We're honored to have you guys in the room, and we appreciate your service. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. But we have a gala coming too. And we have a gala coming up this month.
Very nice. Very good. Swanky. Swanky. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you all. Yeah.
Thank you.
I got it.
Now you guys go get your picture taken.
Ma'am,
Just FYI, we do
Oh,
have
flip
a
it upside down, Sue Ling.
I'm on that end. So we do have a gala coming up on Sunday, March 22nd, 5 to 9 p.m. and tickets are $85. And this is to support the chapter as well as rebuilding our house. Because as I don't know if you all know, the house was torn down when?
In August of last
in
year.
August of last year. So we're in the process of rebuilding. So any support to us would be greatly appreciated.
Sue Ling, the clerk would like to have you state your name first before you present.
Swing Lucas Harris.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, I would now like to recognize our Administrator for Development and Economic Opportunity, Abby Feely.
Good morning, Council. Abby Feely, Administrator, Development and Economic Opportunity. I'm here this morning with Jeff Green of Clarion and Associates. We're going to give a brief 15-minute update on the Land Development Code update that you all are aware. I've been coming to you monthly to share with you the progress that we've been making in updating our code. We have several goals in making that update, including streamlining the code so that it's more understandable and predictable, more predictable development for our city. Also modernizing it to really address where we are today as a city and moving forward with our development. The code's coming in 3 installments. The first installment just went out on February 17th. And this week we had a public meeting Monday night at the Hannah Center. We had over 52 online participants and close to 50 participants in the audience. It was a really great meeting. A lot of very passionate citizens with us there, including consultants and developers. Councilwoman Hurtak was with us that night, which we were so glad to have her there as well. One of the things that we've been committed to is ensuring that we have a lot of public touch points during this process, be it public meetings as well as online opportunities to receive feedback. We know that was of great importance and that we experienced that during the comp plan update, and we too are committed to doing that as the Land Development Code. So in addition to the public meeting we had with Jeff and his team Monday night at Hannah, we'll also be rolling out some neighborhood level meetings as well in the next few months. As I mentioned, the installment comes in 3 parts. This allows for a multitude of touch points. It allows for a multitude of feedback opportunities from the public so that we really are ensuring. And what we have, the first installment is a draft. Jeff's gonna talk a little bit about that. Nothing is set in stone. We're working through this. There's opportunities. I also know Jeff met with many of you yesterday, which is another one of our commitments, that we have touch points with council on this, as it's so critical that we really bring all the threads together as we move this forward, really for our community. As you all know too, and we keep in the periphery, is that Senate Bill 180 issue and some of the more restrictive issues. So I think we're very cognizant of the timing and ensuring that what we're bringing to you is in alignment to be passed and to then go in effect. So this morning I'll turn it over to Jeff. We do have a presentation. If CTTV could please bring that up for us, and we'll be here for any questions afterward. Thank you very much. Jeff?
Good morning, sir. Start with your name, please.
Hello, my name is Jeff Green. I'm with Clarion Associates. Mr. Chairman, members of council, thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you. It is really it's a big milestone in this project to actually provide you with the draft of the first of 3 installments of the updated LDC. I was actually here presenting to you on the LDC assessment exactly 52 weeks ago today. And it's taken us a little bit longer to get here than we would have liked. But if you saw the 411-page draft that's on the website, there was a lot of work that went into that, and we wanted to make sure that we got it right. So just brief summary of what I'm going to talk about, especially since there may be people watching who haven't kept up. I'm just going to give a brief background about the project, how we got to where we are today, and the current status. And then I'll talk a little bit about installment 1 of 3 of the updated LDC that's on the city's website. We'll talk about not only what's in installment 1, but importantly what's not in installment 1, because all those installments are going to be critical to the future land use code. We'll talk about the new zoning districts that are included in installment 1, as well as the updated use regulations and the other regulations that support the updated code. At the end, I'll talk a little bit about what's coming next, but also leave room for any questions that council members may have. So just as Abby just mentioned, and I'll get through this quickly, the LDC has not been comprehensively updated in many decades. Obviously, it's amended continuously, but it's done in a piecemeal fashion. So what you have today is an ordinance that's not particularly well organized. There are a number of internal inconsistencies, and it's not really well aligned with the city's preferred form of development. So this project is really an opportunity to look at the LDC, identify what works well, identify what doesn't work well, and to make the changes that are necessary to better support the city's land use vision. Just briefly, we're with Clarion. We are a planning consulting firm with offices in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and Denver, Colorado. In our 34 years, we've helped more than 250 communities successfully complete comprehensive updates to their development codes, including several communities in Florida. We're joined with a number of sub-consultant teams that lend particular expertise to our team. Dover Cole and Partners, they're a award-winning town planning firm. They're helping us out with some corridor design standards that we'll be introducing later in the project. Kittleson and Associates, a transportation engineering firm that's done a lot of work with the city, worked on the Tampa Moves plan. Plan Active Studio is a planning firm in Orlando that has helped out with some of the district standards. And Nancy Stroud, who is a well-regarded Florida attorney with decades of land use experience, who's helping out with the updates to the development review and approval procedures. So we've shown you this schedule before. This is the overall schedule of the project. As Abby mentioned, as those little megaphones down below show, we have made sure that there are touch points throughout the project. From the very beginning, when we were gathering information in task 1, through to the LDC assessment, where we identified, which was a synthesis of everything we learned in phase 1, all of the priorities of the city, what works well in the current code and what doesn't work well. It also laid out a roadmap for the drafting of the updated LDC. So that's where we are right now. Phase 3, we are in the drafting phase. The reason we do it in 3 installments, as Abby mentioned, is to provide you with additional touch points so that members of the public and council will get to see installment 1, installment 2, and installment 3. And then during that phase 4, we'll have an opportunity to see the entire consolidated code, which will include the feedback that we receive during the installment 1 public engagement period. It also provides us the opportunity to give the public slightly more manageable chunks of code. Now the draft is 411 pages, which is a lot, but it's less than the entire code would be. So as I mentioned, the LDC assessment, which I presented about a year ago, there are 8 key goals listed there, and we tried to address a lot of those in the draft LDC. One of the key priorities in the LDC assessment that you can see throughout this installment 1 is the desire for a more user-friendly, better organized, easier to use set of development regulations. And as we go through the specifics of installment 1, I'll show you some of the places where we've tried to do that. The LDC assessment proposed an outline of how the updated LDC should be organized. That's what you see on the screen here. There are 9 separate articles. Installment 1 includes these 3 articles. Article 3, zoning districts. Article 4, the use regulations. These are some of the key regulations that regulate how development takes place in the city. We also include some of the definitions in Article 9, as well as those rules of measurement that are relevant to the districts and use regulations. So, zoning districts establish minimum setbacks, they establish maximum building heights, And we've gone ahead and included the rules for how you measure height, how you measure those setbacks in Article 9. But there will be a lot more definitions to come as we draft the remainder of the code. So there's a lot that's not included in Installment 1, and I want to emphasize that because there are pieces of Installments 2 and 3 that have a lot of impact on how land can be developed in the city, and they're not prepared yet. So Installments 2 and 3 will include the administration procedures. So some of those revisions to the rezoning procedures, to the special use permit procedures and variances that we talked about in the LDC assessment. A lot of the development standards are included in Installments 2 and 3. These are standards around off-street parking, around landscaping, around tree protection. All of these will be developed later in the project. So you will note that there are cross-references in Installment 1 to these sections, but they're not ready yet. They're being drafted, and obviously everybody in the community will have an opportunity to comment. There are also some of the other regulations that apply, nonconformities, that is land or uses that were legal when developed, but the code has changed, and so they're no longer legal, and so those establish the rules for how those continue and how they need to change. Enforcement, and also some general provisions. One thing I will note is that there are a number of new graphics and illustrations in the updated LDC draft that's on the website. But we like to make sure there's general consensus around the standards that are included in the new LDC before we take the time to really dig in and make a lot of these graphics. So there are a number of placeholders in there that will be filled in as drafting continues. And I just want to emphasize what Abby said. Public engagement is important. I'm pleased to note that there were a lot of concerns raised about some of the proposed provisions at the meeting we had on Monday night, but everybody did seem to understand that this is a draft. This is not going to you for adoption anytime soon. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for public feedback. We understand that this is the community's code. This is not our code. This is something that the community needs to be comfortable with and that you need to be comfortable with. And so there's going to be, we expect to get a lot of comments, and we are listening, and we are going to make changes as the process continues. So let me just take you a little bit through the articles that are included in Installment 1 and just provide a little high-level summary. This is a little bit of what we talked about on Monday night. One of the key elements of Article 3 is an updated organization of the zoning districts. Not only the section in general, but the way each zoning district is organized. The goal is to make it more user-friendly so that people can just glance at the zoning district in which they are located or in which they are considering development to understand what they can do with their property. So this is a copy of some of the zoning district regulations in your current code. So you can see it's very heavily text-based. There are some tables as well. And let me show you how we're doing it in the updated LDC. So this is one of the residential districts, one of the base residential districts. Now, obviously, some of the districts have many more regulations, like the Central Business District, so they are longer than 2 pages, but they all follow this very similar format. You've got your purpose statement up top that establishes the purpose of the district. There's a concept drawing that illustrates what development in the neighborhood, in that district, is intended to look like given the context. Under that is a reference to the use regulations. So we've taken all the separate sets of use regulations and consolidated them all into Article 4. And below that is the dimensional table. So that establishes those key dimensional standards: maximum height, minimum lot width, required setbacks from the front, side, rear, and corner lot lines. On the right side, you can see a dimensional drawing that's keyed to the table. And the dimensional drawing is intended to illustrate, based on those dimensional standards and the types of uses allowed in the district, what development in that district is intended to look like. Below that are cross-references to all of the other standards that apply in the zoning ordinance to development in the district. So there are cross-references to the off-street parking standards, cross-references to the exterior lighting standards, cross-references to the subdivision standards, everything that might play a significant role in development. And again, these are all hyperlinked, so you can click on them and go there, although, again, we haven't drafted those development standards, so those hyperlinks don't take you anywhere yet. A lot of what we did is this reorganization. So the central business district, it's largely reorganization to try to make it more user-friendly. We've not made a lot of substantive changes in that district or some of the other districts, but we have made some changes in some of the other ones. So the residential and business districts, we've done some consolidation of districts. A couple things that we've gotten comment on that we're still thinking about. We are proposing to consolidate the RS50 and RS60 districts into one residential single-family urban district, and to allow some additional housing types in these districts as well, to try to address one of the other priorities in the LDC assessment and in the plan to allow some additional housing types. There are some modest building design standards as well for those in that RSU district. And on the business side, we have proposed consolidating the commercial general and the commercial intensive districts. That's another one where we've gotten some feedback about how that may not be the best idea. So that's something we're going to hear from the community and then decide what changes to make. One of the big things is there are new mixed-use districts. So there are 3 mixed-use districts at different scales, all the way from neighborhood through to corridor to regional center. The goal of these districts, and including these districts in the code, is not that they be applied, at the same time that the LDC is adopted, although you may choose to do so. Instead, it's another tool in your toolbox, either for the council to apply at land in areas of the community where there is a desire for walkable mixed-use development that includes residential, non-residential, office, commercial uses. Or it's an opportunity for landowners or developers who are coming in and want to come in with a project. It's really an alternative to planned development that they can apply, and that increases the level of predictability, because there are standards here that apply. The community knows what the standards are, and land can be developed in accordance with those standards. Planned development. So one of the things we heard loud and clear at the very start of this project was that people were concerned about the lack of predictability in the land use process. Part of that, based on our analysis, is that the city uses planned development districts a lot. It's used not only for sort of larger projects, but also for single lots in residential neighborhoods. So in order to try to address that, we are proposing a minimum 2-acre size for planned developments, which addresses those issues where planned development is used on individual lots in a residential neighborhood. Talking to some developers, there are issues with the current code where you can't do, even consistent single-family development in some of these neighborhoods on some of these lots without doing a planned development. And so we're going to try to make some adjustments as we get into the development standards and into the administrative procedures to make it so that those developments can move forward under base zoning. But the overall idea is to try to reduce the use of planned development as sort of the go-to for every type of development application in the city. Some additional changes. So we've gone ahead and consolidated the 2 central business districts. We've consolidated the channel districts. We know there's conversation about perhaps eliminating the channel districts and just extending the CBD. This is all a draft. We can make those changes. We have gone ahead and simplified some of the Seminole Heights districts, and we've done a lot to try to clarify some of the language, and we will continue to do so in later installments of the code. Article 4, the use regulations. As I think I briefly mentioned earlier, we've taken all of those separate use tables, the use table for the base districts, the use table for Ybor City, for Central Business District, for Channel District, for the Municipal Airport District, and consolidated them all into this Article 4. We've also split them out into separate use tables, one for the principal use on the site, one for accessory uses, one for temporary uses, and a fourth, which is a little bit unique to Tampa because of how you handle alcoholic beverages, an alcoholic beverages use table. So this consolidates all of those separate alcoholic beverage regulations around the districts, the alcoholic beverage uses, the districts they're allowed in, whether an S1 or S2 permit is required, as well as some of the insurance and public safety standards that are included in the code. This is just a a screenshot of part of the principal use table. We have reorganized. One of the things we've done is, we've gone through, we've thoroughly updated all the uses. Where you see the yellow, those are where there are new uses or where there are changes in some of the permissions of the uses. We've reorganized the uses so that they're in this 3-tiered classification system, which makes it easier if a developer comes in with a use that's not explicitly listed. The uses are organized in a way that the zoning administrator can look and see if it fits in one of the categories because it has similar impacts as some of the uses that are listed. On the right side of this table are references to the use-specific standards. So anyone looking at a use knows exactly where to go to see first of all, if there are specific standards that apply to that use, and can find an easy cross-reference to those standards. We've also added a new provision for adaptive reuse. This allows a limited number of additional uses, generally in some of the residential districts, for those historic buildings that really can't serve a residential use, and so can't serve any sort of economically viable use unless some type of non-residential use is allowed. So the building has to be vacant for a certain period of time. There are restrictions on the uses. They're intended to be sort of office or low-impact retail uses. And finally, Article 9, definitions and rules for construction and interpretation. We've gone through, we've updated all the definitions for all the uses. We've added new definitions for the new uses. We will be adding additional definitions as we go on. And there are some of those basic rules of construction that you need in a code. What does day mean? What does may versus shall mean? How do you interpret terms that are not otherwise defined in the ordinance? So again, as we had a meeting with the public on Monday. We had an initial meeting with the great advisory team that the city set up a couple weeks ago, and we're going to be meeting with them on April 1st in person to get their feedback. There's an online questionnaire out there, and as Abby mentioned, we're going to be working to come up with an engagement strategy to really get at those neighborhoods, to make sure that people who do have questions have an opportunity to learn about the project, to share their concerns, and to make sure that they feel like a part of this project. This is installment 1 and 3. Installment 2 is administration. We are currently editing that to get it off to staff for their review, so that will hopefully be out this summer. And we are also drafting installment 3, which is primarily the development standards, but also includes the rest of the regulations. So I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
Councilman Miranda.
Thank you, Chairman. In my all years of public service here, about 30, you're the only one ever to come here and speak for 20 minutes without looking at a sign, design, so you must have a fantastic memory and very well versed in what you do. That's number one. Number two is that when you look at the city, we have less than 5% of the land available for new development. That's a fact. And number three is, although we talk about zonings and buildings in different areas in different parts of the city, and rightly so, we don't look at the real problem of moving the people around, which is how you move them around in modern times, not in yesterday times. You know, it used to be horses. There was the Model A Ford, then the Model T Ford, then it became more and more, and now you got cars that you think you're in an airplane. But along with that, you keep adding to expressways and bigger and better and faster, and yet it really becomes slower and slower because you have more. The more you built out, the more you have use of it, and the more you slow down. So your questions and your problems and us, not you, in doing this city right is to include more than just about buildings. How you transport people, where the people coming from. Are they coming from the east, from the west, from the north, from the south? I think they're coming from all over. They come to Tampa because we made it a hub now, and it used to be a half-dead city until certain things happened and started bringing it up 40, 50 years ago. And it doesn't take one administration to fix something. It takes a whole bunch of administrations, and we're at that point now where the whole bunch is here. And we've done what we can to make it what it is, and now we got to say, how do we fix what we made? And I think that transportation is one of the most important things, and in my mind, we're investing in something that does not work as well as it used to, because when it used to work well, there was very little automobiles in the street. And now you need something above the street to move the people like they do at the airport. But I know that's a different day for a different conversation, but in your standards, I understand what you're saying, but how do you accommodate what you're saying if you don't have the transportation?
Thank you, Council Member. I think a lot of that has to do with what you have, and I know this came up before you recently, but what's in the updated comprehensive plan that identifies those transit-ready corridors, those areas where transit investment is desired, but also through the future land use map identifies those areas where it would be appropriate to apply these, that mixed-use regional center district, that area where you want that highest intensity of development.
And if I may, I agree with you. It used to be that you lived where you worked and you worked where you lived. That is not the case anymore. Now you come to work 20, 30 miles away and hope you can get to work in time if you leave an hour and a half early. So it adds another stress to the individuals that are driving. Why? Because the house is no longer affordable here. You got to go somewhere else to live. I mean, as far as factual as I can to be complimentary to you, sir. So you have to solve a problem that's almost not solvable, to be honest with you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. I don't know if you need the sense, I know we've discussed this many times before, and I'm glad Councilman Carlson's back, and that's what we spoke about in our briefing, channel side and the CBD. Do you, Mr. Feely, do you feel you already have the sense of council with the direction that we want that to go? Or do we need to have that discussion right now?
No, sorry. I think that based on the text amendment you all just did, and then I have also had a subsequent meeting with Mr. Stoltenberg and Mr. Scaglione after the CRA meeting to talk about some of those other changes and some of the needs of the district. So we're proceeding with that under this update.
Beautiful. I know we had a little bit of discussion. I don't know if it was very yesterday, but okay, good, very good.
Jeff and I meet every week. You know, that's why I think when you say he's well-versed in he is truly, and his team is invested in the city, and we continually are having those discussions. He's tracking on comp plan. We keep bringing all of the pieces in to ensure that we're really mindful in doing this.
I'm only aware of a fraction of the meetings that you have. How many hours do you actually have a day? Because you're meeting like with everybody all the time.
To work? That happens at night. Okay. But I appreciate that.
Councilman Carlson.
Yeah, thank you. Just to follow on that, thank you all for helping move that forward. The issue is that when we turn down a project, which is only 2 or 3%, I think, of the time, we get blasted by pro-development people who say, well, this city council is just stupid. They're listening to people who don't care and all this stuff. And the issue is that we have a big city, and there are places where people want density, and there are places where people don't want density. And the purpose of this and the comprehensive plan is to listen to the community about where they want density and where they don't. And in Channel District, they want density. And so, what we've been trying to do is enable staff to make the decisions. Staff makes the decisions in downtown right now, given to them by the city council 20 or so years ago. And so why not just add Channel District to that? Because the way some people have heard this before, but it was originally designed for 4 stories. It doesn't make sense to have 4 stories next to 20-story buildings. And so that could also lead to the redevelopment of Channel District as well, to allow it to be more dense. Some of the buildings that are there that are smaller, as Water Street starts to head north as well. And then if there are other areas, which we've talked about before, where it makes sense to allow more density, let's allow it, because if the community doesn't object, let's allow density there. So we're not saying we don't want density anywhere. The community is not saying they don't want density anywhere, but they don't want density in the middle of Hyde Park, for example, in the middle of a historic district. And it makes sense. There are some activists who want to tear down all the buildings in Hyde Park and build multi-story buildings. I totally disagree with that, because I think there are still enough places that we can build multi-story buildings elsewhere. But we need to have a dialogue with the community. One of the mistakes that happened with the planning commission process is, although they had meetings with the community, they didn't have meetings with small enough groups in the beginning. And so I'm happy to hear you say you did neighborhoods. I'd recommend they go neighborhood by neighborhood with the planning commission. The more you can get to the granular level, the planning commission eventually did meet with groups of 3 or 4 neighborhoods at a time, because there are some synergies between them. But people in a neighborhood need to define their future. And if we ask them, where do you want to put density? Can we put density, or can we put a neighborhood commercial district, or a transportation node in the middle of your, or somewhere in your neighborhood, where would it go? If we push and ask those questions, I think most neighborhoods would be reasonable and say, okay, you can put it over there, and that will enable us to have more density. But if we just do like the Planning Commission did and say, okay, now we're, instead of transit-ready development, which is pockets, where we say, okay, we're just gonna make every street like Dale Mabry, that's a mistake, because that's a developer way of looking at it instead of a planning way to build it around a community. Last thing is, I appreciate you reaching out yesterday and for the update, and I appreciate you being proactive with the community as well. Anything we can help in making that more fruitful, the better. We would love to have a hearing when this gets passed with only a handful of people who are in favor of it instead of 200 people that are against it. And it sounds like you're on a path to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Hurtak.
Thank you so much. I really appreciated Monday's evening's meeting, and we've talked yesterday about some of the things I'm interested in and looking for, and I just wanted to say thank you so much, and I really look forward to the continuation of the community input. I think we've started on a really good note, and I'm looking forward to doing more, so thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Again, I appreciate the briefings as well, and congratulations, Ms. Feely, for continuing to move this enormous task forward. Very good. Okay, we are now going to move to the public comment. Is Mr. Randolph online? No. I'd like to recognize Michael Randolph as online speaker. Mr. Randolph, if you can hear me, start with your name. You have 3 minutes.
The black vote is being diluted. As we approach the upcoming resistance vote, our community is united behind one conclusion. Ordinance 2 is the only map that protects the black political power within legal requirements. Ordinance 2 makes the smallest change possible, moving one precinct 345 to Tampa Terrace. It does not touch West Tampa. It does not split the borough community, one of the strongest black voting blocks in the city. It keeps the Blackdale senior citizen voters together, preserving trusted relationship with the council representative. And it keeps black churches unified instead of scattering them across congregation across districts. Alternate 1, 2, and 3, 1, 3, and 4 all move precincts, creating unnecessary distribution. Alternate 1 splits the rural community across 3 districts, classic cracking that weakens the black vote. Alternate 3 disrupts the Latino and black coalition. Alternate 4 uproots more than 10,000 residents from the reliable black senior voters from the Blackdale Center. None of these disruptions are required to meet the 5% division standard. That's why Alternate 2 earned 420 votes, the highest option of all options. Residents across West Tampa, East Tampa, and Sulphur Spring agree. This is the map that keeps the community whole and stable. So another point, upcoming legislation, House Bill 417 and House Bill 162 collect the state label groups as terrorist organizations, form religion groups, and impose penalties, extradition, and make corporation dissolution for anyone tied to those labels. They raise significant questions about civil liberties, state power, and how broadly these definitions could apply. So staying informed and literacy is very important. Again, that's House Bill 1471 and Senate Bill 1632. It's possible if a city council member was to talk to a group on this list, they could be arrested. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Randolph. Okay, so we're going to go to in-person public comments. I'm going to start with folks that have indicated they want to speak to items that are on the agenda today. And then we will move on to folks that want to speak to items that are not on the agenda. Remember, if you had indicated that you want to speak to on the agendas, your public comment should be restricted to just agenda items. First up is James Adair, speaking to items 12 and 13.
Hey, James Adair, the agent who cares, South Tampa. Wanted to talk today about 12 and 13, the meridian barriers. Don't know if you remember where all this started, but when it went out to the community that we had stormwater workers working on parades, we had this big kerfuffle, and then there was a little online awareness campaign, and then there was a sit down with the mayor and the mayor's office. In that meeting, we talked about other alternatives to having these Jersey barriers. Those are the large concrete barriers that our stormwater crews are needed to move. Instead of using them, this was Lewis. It's now an option to have what's called these meridian barriers. These are much smaller, easier to move, etc. I did a ton of research on it and come to find out, last Gasparilla, we had over 100 of the big concrete barriers, and there's no way we'll ever be able to afford having enough Jersey barriers to make up that gap. Before you today is an approval for $400 and some odd thousand for these Jersey barriers. It's probably 16. The submitter on this did not return my call to answer that question, so we'll see if they'll fess up, but it's probably 16. It's probably not 8. We need them. They're great. Smaller events, these things are perfect for deploying. Obviously, cars are the key issue with them, and I think it's incredibly important that we support this thing, get it done. And as a wrap-up, we do have private contractors doing work to support our stormwater crews. And, I was a big advocate of doing it, and right now this is really a stopgap. I am still in favor of hiring more of our own team, but while these guys are out doing parade setup and tear down, we're overpaying for contractors, but we might as well implement it while we have it. You currently have a $500,000 allotment out. Half of that is already spent. A portion of Ballast Point is already done. I've looked at the work. It's good work. Maybe not as fast as our own guys, but until we're ready to hire, it's a solution we have. And then just as a recap, Gasparilla was a 2-day event. The children's parade and the day parade, it was 2-day setup, 2-day tear down, and then 2 shifts for crew for each of those. So just as an awareness, we're spending this money one way or the other. This will be a really good asset for other services as well. So thank you guys, appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Adair. Next speaker is Valerie Bullard.
I'm gonna speak about some stuff that's not on the agenda, so I.
Okay, I'll slip you. In fact, for Allison, 65 is no longer, but now, hold on, Allison. I'm just moving you right to the top of the bottom of this stack and the top before the second one, because 65 is no longer on the agenda, so you guys will go back to back. Tara Bluma. Didn't indicate what you want to speak to, but said you want to speak to agenda items. Good morning, Ms. Bluma.
Good morning. I wasn't able to make it the other night. Oh, sorry, Tara Bluma. So thrilled to be here to speak to you. I wasn't able to make it the other night, but I am also very concerned about our debt. And we need to be careful about that. I think a lot of the problem comes because you are given information in dribs and drabs without a clear picture of what a final cost is going to be, and you're asked to make incremental decisions, and then you feel like there's too big of a sunk cost. And we all took economics. We understand the sunk cost is going to be there. Even when it hurts, sometimes we have to rip off the Band-Aid. I would ask that you continue to press for more information before you approve money and before you make financial decisions, because more information can just help you make better decisions. So in the agenda today, a few examples. Item number 13, buying the Meridian barricades for $427,000. I assume these are to replace the heavier barricades. Sounds like a good idea, but how many can we buy with $427,000? What is the return on the investment? Is that going to save our stormwater staff time so that they can spend more time working in actual stormwater? Maybe. It's probably a great idea, but we don't have that information. Item number 17, $49,000 for dance recitals. Sounds like a lot of money. My kids don't go to dance recitals at the Straz, but it sounds cool. And it says that we've done that for 17 years. How many recitals are we paying for $49,000? Is that a discounted rate? How much did we pay for the last 17 years? Finally, number 20. This is a second amendment to the City of Tampa and economic modeling for lightcast data. So the first time I read this, it was $15,000. I just kind of breezed over it. And then I read it the second time and started digging into the supporting documents, which were actually there. So I do appreciate that. Good job. But I see we're already paying $30,000 a year for the Lightcast data and have been doing that for a while. This is an additional $15,000 so that we can post the data on the website. Well, I'm assuming that if we're paying for the data, we're already putting that data and using it in the reports that we're making. So we're just paying more to have it on our website. But like Tampa Council for Economic Development, I think it's called, already has that data on their website. So again, you didn't get the full picture unless you really dug into the weeds that this is actually really costing us $45,000, not $15,000. Not a huge amount of money, but when you're getting these things, you know, a couple thousand here, a couple million there, it does add up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blumer. Stephen Michelini on agenda item 5, followed by Bakari Keepswet.
Good morning, Council. I'm going to speak about item number.
Start with your name.
Steve Michelini.
Thank you.
There's a couple things, and I guess they're really policy issues that should be set by this council. I've spoken with Carol Ann Bennett regarding this as well. There is no justification for combining RS-50 and RS-60 into one unit. And when you do that, you have distinctively different development patterns for each of those districts. And when you combine them, you are trying to increase density at the expense of a developed and platted neighborhood. It has huge consequences. And I can assure you that Carol Ann can't be here today, but she asked me to express to you their vehement opposition to doing that. And I think that you will have not only neighborhoods, but also businesses and the residents coming forward to object to that. Combining CG and CI is another idea which really should be put aside. You don't want restaurants and small businesses adjacent to metal fabricators and machine shops and things like that. There is a reason why CG and CI are separate, and they have distinctively different functions. So that also should be removed, go back to the original zoning districts, repair them. If there's something wrong with them, fix them. Don't create new ones that create a whole different series of problems. The reason you get so many PDs is because the council has layered so many restrictions that require city council approval. If you remove those, then you don't have the PDs. But there are things like buffering, street access, you know, the use of parking lots that are all specifically prohibited from the staff from you allowing them to approve. So that's forcing PDs throughout the whole district. And like I said, if there are problems with the individual zoning districts, fix them. Don't create new ones. If you want to add mixed use as a new category, fine. Don't care about that. But when you eliminate districts, you're talking about changing all of the zoning maps throughout the entire city. And as Mr. Miranda pointed out, most of it is infill. You don't have large tracts of land for development. They've also inserted in here form-based codes, which I don't think council has ever said they wanted that. But do you really want to try to force things that look like Celebration Station upon the development community and the homeowners that experience infill development? Adding codes is fine. Consolidating them is not. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. McElhaney. Bakari Keepswet. You have to help me out with that last name, and it's going to be followed by Allison Hewitt. Start with your name, please. You have 3 minutes.
First, I want to say happy anniversary to the Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Congratulations to Chief Mulligan, Firefighter of the Quarter and Officer of the Month. I first want to speak on 22. I understand that this resolution is primarily about recovering costs that the city has already incurred after property owners failed to maintain their lots. I support the city's need to recover those expenses. However, I would encourage the council to consider whether there are ways to reduce the number of cases that reach the lien stage in the first place. For an example, maybe programs could be implemented that allow early assistance for elderly homeowners or financially struggling property owners. where the city maybe offer a one-time assistance before enforcement costs accumulate. Maybe after the first notice, the city offers a volunteer or contracted mowing service at a reduced rate if the owner responds quickly. If ignored, maybe then normal enforcement can proceed. Possibly short payment plans before the liens are recorded. Maybe they can enter into a 60 or 90-day payment agreement, or maybe owners with multiple violations in a year should be maybe required to enroll in a quarterly maintenance requirement. Approaches like these help the city recover costs more efficiently while also preventing small property maintenance issues from turning into long-term financial burdens for residents. Secondly, I also want to thank the council and the men and women of the Tampa Police Department for their continued efforts to keep our community safe. I fully support strong traffic enforcement and the work officers do every day. And so to that point, number 10, I reviewed the resolution regarding the purchase of 4 Ford police responder vehicles under the Florida Sheriff's Association cooperative purchasing contract, including 2 marked traffic units and 2 marked DUI units for the Tampa Police Department. I do not have any objection to the purchase of the 2 traffic units. My question, however, relates specifically to the 2 vehicles designated as DUI units. From my understanding, most of the tools used in DUI enforcement, such as portable breath testers, field sobriety testing equipment, body cameras, and citation systems are portable, can be used in virtually any standard patrol vehicle. The effectiveness of DUI enforcement appears to rely primarily on officer training, observation, and time dedicated to enforcement rather than on a specific type of vehicle being used. Because of that, I would appreciate some clarification from the department about what operational advantages these particular DUI vehicles provide, what specialized equipment will be installed in these vehicles that distinguishes them from a standard patrol unit. Are these vehicles replacing existing DUI vehicles, or they're expanding the current DUI enforcement fleet? And finally, would the department be making any meaningful operational compromise if a less expensive vehicle platform were used instead? My goal is in asking these questions is simply to better understand how this investment improves DUI enforcement and whether the vehicle configuration provides capabilities that a standard patrol vehicle could not.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the input. Allison Hewitt, followed by Valerie.
Good morning, Allison Hewitt, East Tampa resident. Thank you for pulling item number 65. It is exceptionally concerning. In 2021, when we proposed the pre-development and you passed the pre-development, the purpose is to help property owners develop their land, to be able to help them with the pre-development costs, to make them be able to be competitive in this development process. What you have in front of you is, after 5 years, we have not started pre-development yet, and after 5 years, they have proposed to you 5 consulting contracts that have limited to no experience in developing small to medium-sized developments. One of the main purposes also was to make sure that they had a developer consultant to make sure they did the feasibility and market analysis. Don't spend the money unless we know we have a project that can be fundable. There is no one here to be able to work with the property owner to say this is the feasibility of this project. So we would be spending money on architectural pretty pictures and designs, but no ability to say how you can fund it. Again, to be good stewards of the tax dollars, you would be giving a grant that cannot be funded because the projects can be funded. How this RFP goes out, it went out and it was due in March 6th of 2024. And here we are again in 2026. I know they took the service agreements out, but this is another reason why, after 5 years, you're getting something that you cannot use to be able to have systematic, actual economic development for the small property owners. If you have the ones that does have affordable housing, BDG, they have 100 units plus. They don't have the areas that we have where we need to pay to put 6 units or 20 units or 10 units. They don't have the experience. And so if you have a family or a property owner say, how can you help me? And they can build a pretty picture, but there's no feasibility, there's no marketing, there's no developer consultant to be able to how to do a capital stack to be able to fund it, because none of these projects expect to have 100% CRA financing. So how do you make sure you bring the financing to the project for true development for our community? But here again, 5 years later, they're providing you with information for people who cannot help East Tampa develop their projects, develop their land. That's why I ask you to look at this service agreement, because they are not even being held accountable for bringing you information 5 years later that cannot be used to be able to help them. So you will be putting this money into these projects that they have no feasibility, no marketing. We brought it to you in the beginning based on Florida Housing Finance to help small developers really develop, which be able to make sure that these projects are fiscally financeable. And what you have here does not provide that. Please strengthen your service agreement, and please on Friday, we don't need this list. We need to be able to have pre-development grants and people come to you with their project partners to be able to develop. Thank you.
Valerie, I have friends that I want to buy that shirt for.
Valerie Bullock, Ponce Leon in East Tampa, College Hill, that's where I'm from. I'm gonna talk about number 22 like the guy did. It's got to be a way for the city to work with the homeowners instead of placing liens on their property or trying to clean up the property, and then the homeowner got to pay them. And I wanna say this, when it comes to slum and blight, the city is one of the biggest contributors. All of those lots that they bought, the infill lots, if you pass by some of them, they're not up to code. And they look like somebody haven't mowed in like 6 years, the grass all the way up to your neck, and then they'll do it probably once a year. So if the city isn't abiding by their own rules, how can they try to push and make the homeowners abide by their rules? And it's got to be a way that the city can work with the homeowner. Some kind of way, just don't take the people's house. I put a lien on it, and I really want to talk about 39 because I'm confused. The city of Tampa, they blocked the box to make returning citizens easier to get a job. Well, right here they say they doing a background check and they're gonna give the people $75,000 for the background check. So did we block the box or did we just doing what we wanna do? Because if you block the box, you're saying, okay, you don't have to put down you're a convicted felon or you been arrested or nothing, and we'll still hire you. And I have no problem. After the person getting hired, then you want to do a background check so you can see what they was going on. I have no problem with that. But if you're going to block the box and still do a background check on me before looking at my credentials before I get hired, that doesn't make any sense. And I also want to talk about East Tampa and the Abby and the guy who came up here and did the presentation. When it comes to the city of Tampa, it can't be one playbook we're using for all neighborhoods. The needs for South Tampa is different from East Tampa. The needs for West Tampa is different from Hyde Park. And we have to understand that every neighborhood is unique, and we need to abide by that. Because what I was hearing when he was talking, oh, we're gonna have subdivisions in East Tampa. You're gonna have CDD and HOA fees. It's got to be uniform, just like in Riverview. The house got to look like this, got to be painted that color. That's not what we want, and we don't want another burden. We already paying high insurance, high taxes, and a high mortgage. Now you wanna make us try to pay this. I remember when Ybor City, they started with theirs. Oh, you got to have certain windows, you got to have certain doors. If your house catch on fire, you got to build it like this. That's good if I got $180,000 in the bank. But if my house was the only assets that I had and I was trying to keep it, that's a bad idea.
Thank you, Valerie. Joe Citro, followed by Ashley Moreau. Good morning, Mr. Citro.
Thank you. It's Citro, C-I-T-R-O. For the record, 33611. I congratulate all of you on choosing wisely your appointments for the CRC. It's Citro, yes, C-I-T-R-O. This is an advisory committee that you yourself have handpicked. Two of you know that. It was on a past charter review committee. To send memorandums, to advise this advisory committee that you are not going to hear anything on certain sections is a disservice to the people that you have chosen. Please allow this charter review to do their work. I've been to several neighborhood committees that have been concerned about the proposed baseball stadium. Now, these people are concerned mostly about traffic. We have heard a governor that says he wants this baseball stadium. We have heard at least 2 county commissioners say they want it, and we have heard a council person who has consistently said it's a done deal. 3 of you are members of the TPO, Transportation Planning Organization. I myself am a member of the CAC for that committee. Now is the time to open discussions on transportation around that area. If you wait until the stadium is completed, it'll be too late. I asked you, the CAC asked you, to please start discussions about transportation around this stadium now. I will see the 3 members that are on the TPO Wednesday and ask for the same request. Council, I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Citro. Ashley Moreau, my favorite 3 minutes, followed by Sandra Perdue.
Okay. Okay. What's happening? All right, so, hello, my name is Ashley Morrow. Today I'm not going to be sharing Tampa's Black history, but I'm going to be saying more of a thank you to City Council, to all the people that have been supportive of me for the past few, especially last month. Last month was very busy, but at least I was able to go out and share a lot of Tampa's history last month, and that's the main goal. So I'm gonna start here. In 2020, as some of y'all know, I'm a photographer. I was out there shooting the protests. So then I eventually created Black Tampa Historians, where I would go and record Black elders in the community. I created a trivia card game. We did an Emancipation Day celebration. I did that with Fred Hearns. This was before I joined the History Center. And when I first got started, I met Miss Gloria Jean Royster, who was the one that basically highlighted Madam Fortune Taylor. We got the bridge and all that stuff, conversation started again, because not to say the conversation hadn't been started. It had started already, but she definitely energized that conversation again. Ursula Odom, she pointed me to Ursula Odom, who has a history shop. They just had a very successful bus tour this weekend, so yay for her. Who pointed me to Fred Hearns, who brought me into the History Center, who then pointed me to Roddy Kite Powell, who has taught me a lot about digging into the archives and learning about maps. And I just want to take this time to say thank you, because I don't want y'all to think I do all this myself. And through all the highlights and all the things, I know you only get so many lines and so many minutes. They can't include all of this information. But I do want to say thank you to the people that I have been working with and learning from over the past few years. These just returning the spotlight to these people that have put me on their platforms, and I really appreciate them as well. Nina's in the room right now. And there have been plenty of people that have also shared this history on their own platform, so I really appreciate them. And TBABJ is presided by Sandra Weathers, so I appreciate her and her efforts to try to get Black journalism out. And this is a thank you to y'all. I really appreciate y'all. Y'all keep me going. And the businesses that have hired my photography business, I really appreciate you all. If y'all did not hire me, I would not be able to be up here. If I'm not making money, I will not be up here. If I don't show up here, it means I'm not doing good. That means I'm not doing well in life. So thank you. And then this is my family. I appreciate my family, the Morrow family. That's my grandma. That's me. And my great-grandma Lucille and Norris Morrow right there. And then now I am filing to be a nonprofit, so I'm really excited about that. So over the past year, so people have been trying to give me money, and I'm like, I have nothing for you to put money into. I don't need money. Well, let me buy you coffee. I don't even drink coffee like that. But I'm going to create a nonprofit. Thank you, Gregory. He put me in contact with somebody that wants to do funding, so I appreciate that. The Beat of Tampa Bay was successful. It'll be next March. The next one will be end of next March, and I have a youth program that I want to form. So I'm really excited. Thank y'all so much. Okay.
Thank you, Ashley. Congratulations, and it is our favorite 3 minutes. Thank you so much. Sandra Perdue, followed by John Green. Good morning, Sandra.
Good morning. Thank you, council members. I'm Sandra Perdue. I live in the downtown area in the River Arts Neighborhood District. And I'm here, I love living there, and I'm willing to enjoy all the amenities, all the good things, and I'm willing to put up with some of the negatives. However, there's one negative that I and my neighbors don't want to put up with anymore, and we'd like you to do something about it, and that is construction noise that starts some mornings at 5 a.m. We're asking you to think about the city codes and ordinances and fix them, amend them, do whatever we need to do to make sure that we don't have construction on large or small projects that start at 5 a.m. And the start of the project isn't always necessarily banging. Sometimes it's just the backing up noises of the trucks making deliveries. So I've got a petition circulating in my neighborhood, and I'd like to just read you a part of the petition. I emailed each of you a copy or a link to the petition this morning, so if you have staff members that want to check that out, you can just find it through that link. So part of the petition says, Tampa's Downtown River Arts District and Channelside District are unique areas that blend residential and business interests. These neighborhoods rely heavily on the city's commitment to maintaining a harmonious living environment. It is the City of Tampa's responsibility to create and maintain conditions that are in the best interests of all residents and business people. Failing this could lead to declining health and well-being for our community. It's proven there is proven scientific evidence that sleep disturbance creates health problems. So that's what I mean when I talk about health and safety issues. City Council and code enforcement need to take action by addressing our concerns. Look at the noise ordinance and look at the changes that are going to be proposed in the near future, I hope, to help safeguard the rights of residents and to help them enjoy their homes without the constant disruption of early morning construction. Other metropolitan areas have adopted similar policies and found balanced solutions, offering businesses ample working hours while respecting residents' peaceful nights. Tampa should follow suit. So my request is that you follow through whenever there's an opportunity to look at the noise ordinances and the codes and make sure that they're in step with today, not 15 years ago when some of them were created. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Sandra. John Green, followed by Bishop Michelle P. Patty.
Good morning. I just want to say thanks to each one of you for taking up the issue for the sex toys being displayed in the stores, and specifically to Councilwoman Nia Young for pushing the issue and getting it to the forefront. But I just had a couple.
John, start with your name.
Oh, John Green.
Thank you.
I just had an issue with the attorney reading the wrong statute, and I was a little confused about that. But I pulled up one, and it's 847.012. And subsection 1 says, knowingly means having the general knowledge of, reason to know, or a belief or grounds for belief warrants further inspection or inquiry of both. Then you go down to subsection 3. A person may not knowingly sell, rent, loan for monetary consideration to a minor. Subsection 3A says, let me get it right now. Any picture, photograph, drawing, sculpture, motion picture film, video cassette tape, on and on and on, in which she mentioned, right? But she forgot this piece, and this is just one of the 2 Florida statutes that we had presented initially. So I appreciate the attorney. I'm not an attorney, but I appreciate the attorney looking into it, but I just didn't think she went far enough to delve into these Florida statutes, which can really put a bigger scope on these sex stores. And not only that, if we get one of these stores or 2 of these stores, it'll be good for the city and the county at large because it's happening all over. So it's just not for East Tampa, Sulphur Springs, it's for the community at large. All our kids are being harmed by this act right here, and thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bishop Michelle B. Patty, followed by Pastor Williams. Bishop, you can start with your name, and we have 3 minutes. He'll pass
Yes,
them out.
I was just waiting. Good morning. I'm Bishop Michelle B. Patty, and I also like to thank all of the council members for having involvement in trying to get a handle on the situation concerning the sex toys. And definitely, Councilman Randall, we say thank you about the code enforcement. That's a good step in the right direction. 2 days ago, there was a arrest of 89 people that was trying to solicit sex from children. What's very disturbing, one of those people was an employee at Hillsborough High School. That should be concerning to all of us. Now, when we get to the statute, as we see that evidently the council person did not go in depth or far enough, but I highlighted something here that I think is very most interesting with 847.011. The items are deemed obscene. Let's start at the top. Okay, while selling general adult novelty is not automatically a felon, a convenience store risks violating Florida Statute 847.011 if the items are deemed obscene by the community standards. Many retailers avoid the risk by not carrying such items or by ensuring they are not in view of minors. So the community has come out and spoken loud and clear that these things, when you're seeing a sex toy that has the anatomy of a man and you can see everything, that is obscene. So all this about the First Amendment right, this has nothing to do with freedom of speech. They're not making a speech. They're not, they're selling these products, where some of the stores have done just this, taking them out of view, taking them off the shelf. There's others. So we need to be cohesive in what laws that we can put to ensure that this is not done anywhere. And under that same statute, it's stated that each city, county need to enforce an ordinance so that it would be uniform to stop the practice of what's going on. Our children are vulnerable, they're innocent, and now these type of things make it even more easier for sex offenders to manipulate our children. When our kids, they're going to buy a piece of candy, they think this is all right because it's in the convenience store. So we're asking the council to push further, make sure you do your due diligence so that the city of Tampa can be that next great city that I've always heard about. And we need to protect our youth. They are being preyed on by all facet people in all walks of life. So once again, to the council, we say thank you for all that you're doing, but we need to do more.
Thank you, Bishop. Pastor Williams, followed by Sir Doss. Pastor? Good morning, sir.
Good morning. My name is Pastor William, located at 1112, used to be located at 1112 East Scott Street, until the people started to run me out of there by threats and everything. But we have to understand here, I thank God that you all give me these 3 seconds where I could try to defend myself. And that's all I'm trying to do, defend myself. I'm not trying to defend nobody else. I got to try to defend myself in order to be able to work with other people. Like I just said, we're not concerned about Ebo City and Belmont High and Jackson High. We're not concerned about them at all. Only people we're concerned about most is ourselves. We want to give ourselves a raise, and that's it. We don't care nothing about the other people. I'm here to tell you this morning, we should be concerned about all people, white, black, yellow, whatever color they want to be, and be concerned about them, but we don't care. We don't care. This gentleman got up here a few minutes ago and spoke up looked like over a half hour, but I don't even know what that's all about. And you don't either, I don't think so, because if you did, you would react. But I'm thankful be to God. I'm getting ready to hit the streets and preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. And that's my problem. I thank God that he gave me a long life that I could go out and preach. And I need to get a card from all of y'all, because I know the police gonna come run me out of off of there. But I'm a preacher, and that's what I'm gonna be till I go to the graveyard. I'm happy to be here to speak up for myself, and I thank be to God that he gave me a long life. And y'all pray that your God give y'all a long life. And don't be hellish about it. Be truthful about it. Treat people right. And thank God that we're here. I found a book here this morning that I'm really happy about it. It's called City Council of Tampa and Celebration of Old City Hall continually. Thank God for that. But we need to look at the people, especially look at the way they're being treating people in Belmont Heights and Jackson High. And build all them flood ponds, and they ain't doing nothing about it. That's where they should really build a stadium, a baseball stadium, build another flood pond, and we could be happy about it. And we have to understand. Thank y'all for hearing me.
Thank you,
Pray to
Pastor. Have a
God to
beautiful
bless
day.
you.
Surgert Doss, followed by Robin Lockett.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Doss.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Shagret Doss, and at the last hearing, a young lady asked me why I always shout out the University of Thomas Jefferson High School, and I'll get to that a little bit later on. After I addressed what I wanted to address last week when I was still in Atlanta working on what you all are looking at, but was told you're going to push it back to October, so I wanted to address what's going into this new code of ethics regarding whether or not, and if it's going to have something regarding whether or not Tampa police officers can covertly exchange emails with sitting judges during police investigations of so-called suspects. And I ask because that's what happened to me in 2017 when this city's police department and the head of the mayor's security and several others, including that sitting judge, colluded to falsely accuse me of perjury. Now, interestingly enough, a couple of y'all up here I heard are actually running for mayor. And what I wanted to know is if you become that mayor, will you just continue to turn a blind eye toward what goes on, or will you demand an internal investigation of my allegations, which I'm sure applies, and we now know apply to several people from the city of Tampa. But I'm gonna get back to the question the young lady asked me, and I had great people come across my path throughout my life. And despite my personal flaws, the Most High put great people in my path along their journey, which started with my parents, which made today my birthday. But that includes Mr. Howard, Mr. Bernie, Mr. Crime, Ms. McMath, Ms. Robinson, Ms. Falk, and Ms. Regil, not to mention Ms. Sullivan, and many of the others. This actually was in Mississippi. And of course, I had other outstanding teachers and professors as well, and there's too many of them to mention, although Dr. Williams, who bled over so many of my writings, holds a certain special place in my heart because she made me a more intense writer. But I have to give a great shout out to Coach Mack, Coach Barnes, Coach Dawson, Coach Hub, and Coach Nagel, who made me a wide receiver, by the way, and the winningest black coach in Hillsborough County history, Darley Nelson. The one thing I learned at the university was how to compete, how not to give up, and how to if you get knocked down, how to get back up and keep fighting. So to the young lady who asked that question, there's your answer. Now, I've been all over the world and had the opportunity to see a lot of things, either through my parents' service commitment or through my own. But it's because of the university that I was able to complete this on time, and anybody can look that up. And it's also not my fault that either you nor your parents made sure that you got to attend the greatest institution of higher learning in the city of Tampa, the University of Thomas Jefferson High School.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day. Robin Lockett, and that'll conclude public comment. Robin?
I'm trying to decide whether I want to say something.
Oh.
Good morning, council.
Morning.
And I'm going to make this a fun statement. I attended the greatest school, Tech, Tampa Bay Tech. And we have cheers behind it. The greatest school ever. Thank you. That's it.
That's it. You know, you are now my favorite public comment of the day. Thank you. That concludes public comment. Are there anybody in the public that is requesting reconsideration of legislative matters? Hearing none. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. Councilman Vera's not there. Charlie Miranda, would you please move items 6 through 16?
Oh, wait.
Oh. What? What am I waiting for? Yes.
Chairman, I move items 6 through 16.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilman Miranda, a second from Councilman Maniscalco. Councilwoman Hurtak.
Thank you. I did want to talk about item 13 really quick. I did ask about the $427,000 for the barricades. Apparently, they cost around like $7,600-ish each, so we're only getting 60 barricades. So I just wanted to share that.
Okay, very good. We have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. Councilwoman Young, Neighborhoods and Community Affairs. Can you move 18 through 20, what?
18?
25 and 27 through 30. Yeah, because 17 was removed.
Okay, that was removed. Okay. Alrighty, so I move items 18 through, is it 30?
25.
18 through 25.
And 27 through 30.
And 27 through 30.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion from Councilwoman Young, a second from Councilman Maniscalco. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. And we did remove 20, okay, good, just make sure I did.
Which one we removed? We
removed one of the $10,000 ones. Is a memo saying $10,000.
Oh, okay, got it. Sorry,
Okay.
I was taking a picture.
Councilman Maniscalco, can you move items 31 through 35?
I move items 31 through 35.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco, a second from Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. An encore performance by Councilman Miranda. Can you move 36 through 41?
Yes, sir, I move 36, Mr. Chairman, through 41.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilman Miranda, second from Councilman Maniscalco. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Development and Economic Opportunity Committee, Councilman Carlson, can you move 42 through 51?
Move 42 through 51.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilman Carlson, a second from Councilman Maniscalco. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Councilwoman Hurtak.
Yes.
Mobility and
Move-
Asset
I
Management.
move items 52 and 53.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion from Councilman Hurtak, a second from Councilman Miranda, moving items 52 and 53. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Can I get a motion to set public hearings for 54,
Motion
55,
to set
and 56?
54 through 56 public hearings.
We have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Can I get a motion to open the
Move
10
to-
a.m. public hearings?
Move to open the 10
Second.
a.m. public hearings.
We don't have any time there. It stands. We have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Miranda, to open the public hearings. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. The 10 o'clock is non-quasi-judicial. Nobody has to be sworn in for that. Item number 57.
Ross Samus, Development Coordination, presenting file number BAC 25-08. This is an ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, and also being amended by a substitute ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption. This ordinance is proposed vacating, closing and discontinuing and abandoning an alleyway located north of Swan Avenue, south of Bay Street, east of Brevard Avenue, and west of Magnolia Avenue. I'm available if you have any questions.
Does council have any questions?
Just if there's any substantive differences, if Mr. Salmons knows, just to inform council. Is there?
This was, there was a memo submitted from the city attorney's office to the council.
Okay. Applicant?
Good morning, Council. Cammie Corbett with the law firm of Hill, Ward, and Henderson. I'm here representing the applicant, and our firm also represents the owners of 614 Bay and 611 Swan. Those are the office buildings that are there. You previously heard that this was at first reading passed, and then what was added in between was an easement for solid waste and an easement, cross-access easement between the parties. So I'm here to answer any questions should you have any.
Does council have any questions? Hearing none. Very good. Anybody from the public wishes to speak to item 57? Start with your name, please.
I'm not there yet. Okay. My name is Pam Canella. I oppose the vacating of this alley. I was not able to address my opposition of this application to vacate this alley, as I misunderstood and believed the vacating of the alley was also withdrawn. There is not a need to vacate this alley at this time, as there is no proposed site plan. But there is a need for the alley to be accessible for properties that now use this alley for recycle, waste, and dumpster pickup. Dumpster pickup requires a larger area, 60 feet of unobstructed length, 20 feet in width, and 23 feet of vertical clearance. This ensures the collection truck safely maneuvers for pickup container. Number two, parking for these properties on 614 and 611, Swan and Bay, requires access through this alley for their parking. You can see here, there's the parking, there's the parking, there's the garbage. Tico and Spectrum currently use this alley and only agree to the vacating if another easement can be provided, which is not available at this time. I don't know the specifics of the agreement between the applicant and the properties, but it seems inappropriate to vacate this alley at this time without a proposed plan in front of City Council. And again, I just want to show you, there it is. There's another one over here, building. The alley goes up here, parking over here, trash and all recycle pick up here, and there's another dumpster way in the back. And I just wanted you all to know that it is necessary. Thank you very much.
Next speaker, please.
Here we go. Good morning, Bobby O'Brien, live on Bay Street. I was here when it was first passed by council. I'm here just to remind you and give you a little bit of history of that alley. This is the 1915 Sanborn map. It shows the complete alley. It also shows this segment here as part of an alley. Then we move to the 31 map. Here it shows it was cut out for a miniature golf course. Believe it or not, it would be great if they put one back. But you still have that side alley and then the alley here. And finally, this is the Sanborn map of 1951. Just to show you, it's part of the fabric of Hyde Park. And what I'm concerned about, even though I know it's second reading and you all usually don't change your votes, but I wanted to just remind you of what some of the things you might end up with. We ended up with the Bank of Tampa because there was no one regulating when it got built, in a way. This is where their dumpsters are now, right next to the sidewalk access, and they're usually full. This is an easy one. This also shows the city crews having to repair Magnolia Street. 2 of the 4 streets that bound this area are brick streets, Bay and Magnolia. I suggest that you maybe reconsider, first off, maintaining the historic character of Hyde Park, which means alleys. That's where the access is, not only for utilities, but for garbage. Closure of this, even though there's an easement now, future closure of this means garbage trucks on the brick streets, meaning we're going to have more repairs needed. Secondly, the alley access is essential for protecting those brick streets. It is part of the city's own codes and the historic to protect your brick streets. And protecting it means using the alley for the heavy access of garbage trucks for parking accessibility as well. I understand that the property owners are going to want a huge block, not broken up by alley. I'm just suggesting it's part of a historic district. Please consider or reconsider. And thank you for granting the easements when you first did have the vote. And thank you very much. It's been interesting watching today.
Okay. Anybody else from the public wish to speak to this item? Hearing none. Applicant, do you want to rebuttal?
Sure. Cami Corbett again. And I appreciate the individuals who are looking out for the owners of 611 and 614, but I do represent them. They are in support of the closure of this alley. This alley is not functional. This red part has been vacated since 1926. And I'd also like to direct your attention to the memorandum that you got from Mr. Wingington, in which Solid Waste actually said there's no need or want for the easement, and it no longer uses the alleyway for pickup, but we are providing the easement anyway. And we did provide the easements that council requested. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Council have any questions? Hearing none, can I get a motion to close? Motion to close from Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Vera. Councilman Vera, would you like to read this item? Oh, sorry. All those in favor of closing, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Councilman Vera.
Yes, sir. I move an ordinance, or strike that, a substitute ordinance. I read the substitute one.
Yes,
There you go.
yes,
Yep,
yes.
thank you. Presented for second reading and adoption. Ordinance of the City of Tampa, Florida, vacating, closing, discontinuing, and abandoning the alleyway located north of Swan Avenue, south of Bay Street, east of Brevard Avenue, west of Magnolia Avenue, within the revised map of Packwoods Subdivision, a subdivision of the City of Tampa, Hillsborough County, Florida, is more particularly, or strike that as more fully described in Section 2 hereof, subject to certain covenants, conditions, and restrictions, as more particularly set forth herein, providing for enforcement and penalties for violations, providing for definitions, interpretations, and repealing conflicts, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilman Vera, second from Councilman Maniscalco. Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Hurtak?
Yes.
Young? Vieira?
Yes.
Carlson?
No.
Miranda?
Yes.
Maniscalco? Yes. And Clendenin?
Yes.
Motion carried with Carlson voting no and Young being absent at vote.
Thank you very much. Okay, item number 10 is a quasi judicial hearing. If you are, I'm sorry, 40. I'm looking at 10. I'm looking at 10 a.m. I say 10. I definitely need coffee.
Yeah.
Our item number 58 and item number 59 are quasi judicials. Actually, the rest of the public hearings, 10 o'clock public hearings, are quasi judicial. If you're planning on speaking to any of the quasi judicial hearings, please stand, raise your right hand, and be sworn in by our clerk.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to provide is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, item 58, please.
Good morning, Council. For the record, Christopher DeMonch, Development Coordination. Item number 58 is REZ 2605. This item is a rezoning request for property located at 4001 South Lynwood Avenue. The request is to rezone from RS60 to RS50. Since this is a Euclidean rezoning, there are no site plans, and I'm available for any questions.
Does council have any questions? Hearing none. The applicant? Stephen, were you sworn in?
Jeez, I forgot.
Unmute yourself. Are you still muted, or it's on your end, sir? You have to unmute yourself. Oh, he's calling in reinforcements. There you go.
Say your name.
Stephen, were you sworn in?
Sworn in? No.
Okay, can you raise your right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to provide is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, sir. You have the floor. Is there anything that you'd like to add to your presentation?
No, that just a request to council if they would approve a proposal.
Oh, and Stephen, can you state your name, please?
Stephen Seaton.
Thank you. Okay. And is that all? Does council have any questions for the applicant? Hearing none. Is there anybody in the public who wishes to speak to this item? Hearing none, can I get a motion to close? Motion to close from Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Councilman Carlson, can you read item 58, please?
Sure, move item number 58, ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, ordinance rezoning property in the general vicinity of 4001 South Lynwood Avenue in the city of Tampa, Florida, more particularly described in section 1 from zoning district classification RS 60 residential single family detached to RS 50 residential single family detached, providing an effective date. This is file number REZ 26-05.
Thank you. We have a motion from Councilman Carlson, second from Councilman Maniscalco. Councilman Bureau, you were absent at the votes for 58 and 59. Have you reviewed those hearings?
I had reviewed these originally because I was there, but yes, sir, I did.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second. Roll call, please.
Young,
Yes.
Vieira,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Miranda,
Yes.
Maniscalco, Hurtak,
Yes.
and Clendenin.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you very much. On to 59.
Again, for the record, Christopher DeMonch, Development Coordination. Item number 59 is REZ 2615. This is a rezoning request for property located at 312 North Manhattan Avenue. The request is a rezone from RS 50 to RM 18. Since this is a Euclidean rezoning, there are no site plans, and I'm available for any questions.
Council have any questions? Hearing none. Applicant? Were you sworn in?
No, sir, I have not.
Please raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to provide is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything you'd like to add for the record from?
Yes, sir. I was going to say, my name is Giselle Moda. I'm the authorized agent for REZ 2616 at 312 Manhattan. We appreciate the finding of consistency across all departments of the city staff, and we encouraged to receive the unanimous approval of city council at first reading. I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Does council have any questions? Hearing none. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak to item 59?
Move to close.
We have a motion to close from Councilman Miranda, second from Councilman Maniscalco. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Councilwoman Young, would you like to read 59, please?
Yes. File number REZ 26-15, ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption. An ordinance rezoning property in general vicinity of 3112 North Manhattan Avenue in the city of Tampa, Florida, and more particularly described in section 1 from zoning district classification RS 50 residential single family to RM 18 residential multi-family, providing an effective date.
Thank you. We have a motion from Councilwoman Young, a second from Councilman Maniscalco. Clerk, would you call, Mr. Shelby, did you want to say
No,
something?
I just want to confirm, it's 312 North Manhattan?
312 North Manhattan.
Yes, she
Thank
read
you.
it. She read it, yeah. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Vieira,
Yes.
Carlson, Miranda,
Yes.
Maniscalco, Hurtak,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
and Clendenin.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. Item number 60.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, for the record, Christopher DeMonch, Development Coordination. Item number 60 is REZ 25125. This item is a rezoning request for property located at 5215, 5301, and 5311 West Tyson Avenue. The request is a rezone from planned development to planned development to allow for residential multiple family, single family attached, retail sales, which includes special goods, convenience goods, shoppers goods, and lastly, marina. Revisions have been completed and certified plans have been submitted to the clerk's office. I'm available for any questions.
Does council have any questions? Hearing none. Applicant?
Good morning, Council. Annie Barnes, Stearns Weaver Miller, 401 East Jackson Street. I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you. Council have any questions for the applicant? Hearing none. Is there anybody in the public who wishes to speak to this item? Seeing none, we have a
Second.
motion to close from Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Councilwoman Hurtak.
Yes, file number REZ 25-125, ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption. An ordinance rezoning property in the general vicinity of 5215, 5301, and 5311 West Tyson Avenue in the city of Tampa, Florida, and more particularly described in section 1 from zoning district classification PD, plan development, to PD, plan development, residential, multifamily, single-family attached, retail sales, specialty goods, convenience goods, shoppers goods, and marina, providing an effective date.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilwoman Hurtak, second from Councilman Miranda. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Carlson,
Yes.
Miranda,
Yes.
Maniscalco, Hurtak,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Vieira,
Yes.
and Clendenin.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
Item number 61.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, for the record, Christopher DeMonch, Development Coordination. Item number 61 is REZ 2597. This is a rezoning request for property located at 3105 East Columbus Drive, 3001, 3003, 3004, 3007, and 3010 East 15th Avenue. This request is to rezone from RM16 and planned development to planned development for residential multiple family. Revisions have been completed and certified plans have been submitted to the clerk's office. I'm available for any questions.
Council have any questions? Applicant?
Annie Barnes, Stearns Weaver Miller, 401 East Jackson Street, available if you have any questions.
Any questions for the applicant? Hearing none. Is there anybody in the public who wishes to speak to item 61? Seeing none, we have a motion to close from Councilman Miranda, second from Councilman Maniscalco. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Councilman Maniscalco, would you move that? Would you read 61 and then, if it passes, move the resolution?
Thank you very much. I have an ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption. Ordinance rezoning property in the general vicinity of 3105 East Columbus Drive in 3001, 3003, 3004, 3007, and 3010 East 15th Avenue in the city of Tampa, Florida, and more particularly described in Section 1 from Zoning District Classification RM16 Residential Multifamily and PD Plan Development, PD Plan Development Residential Multifamily, providing an effective date.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco. We have a second from Councilman Miranda. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Miranda.
Yes.
Maniscalco.
Yes.
Hurtak.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Viera.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
And Clendenin.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
And I'd like to go ahead and move the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion to move the resolution associated with 61 by Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. That concludes our 10 a.m. public hearings. We're going to move on to our administrative update.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Martin Shelby, City Council Attorney. In keeping with your past practices, if the clerk can confirm number 68 does not require staff, but that is the revolving loan, if you'd like to move that at this time.
Hold on one second. 68.
Motion to move 68.
Second. Let me catch up where we're at. Okay, got it. We have a motion to move item 68 from Councilwoman Hurtak, second from Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Administrative update, and then after that, we're going to hear for the financial resolution. Okay? Thank you.
Good morning, Council. Kelly Austin, Director of Human Resources, here on behalf of Chief of Staff, who is under the weather today. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak with you. As Council is aware, we were negotiating with the IFF on a collective bargaining agreement, and those negotiations concluded on February 2nd. After that process, the IFF has to go out and solicit and educate their members, and then they take it out for a vote. They are in the process of voting right now. Their last voting is tomorrow and will conclude at 3:30. In speaking with President Stocco yesterday, they were very confident. They had a good turnout, and they do believe it's going to be a favorable result. So anticipating that, we are asking council if it would be okay to add that onto the March 12th evening meeting agenda to present that for council's approval for ratification. And the reason that we'd like to bring it forward on the 12th is, as you know, council has spring break, and some of the components of the collective bargaining agreement go into effect April 1st. This would give us time to build any components we need to in the system, make sure it works appropriately, get the pay rates loaded and all of those things so that it is seamless and it does go into effect on April 1st for those bargaining unit members. The only process thing I would ask if council would be okay with is, I believe that the agenda information has to usually go in Friday by noon. I wouldn't feel comfortable submitting it until that vote is actually closed and President Stocco calls me and says that they've got an agreement. So if it would be okay, Attorney Johns has said she would work with the city clerk's office first thing Monday morning. I already have the collective bargaining agreement pretty much ready to send to council, and we also have an executive summary. So first thing Monday morning, we would be prepared to send that to you, but we wouldn't be able to do it Friday.
So just, you know, I've been working closely with the staff, administration on this, and this is part of like making the firefighters whole too, 754 if this passes, but there's also a procedure. We don't want to get in front of as they're voting on the contract. So we worked out an informal deal that we'd make this coordination on Monday morning, but they're here to just bring everybody to everybody's attention. Councilman Carlson.
I'd like to move to waive the rules to
Second.
enable HR to submit the documents on Monday instead of Friday.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
May I make a motion then to set this on the March 12th evening agenda
Yeah.
immediately after the commendation?
We're not doing that yet because we
Okay.
want to make sure, just a protocol thing.
Okay.
I'm working with the clerk's office on Monday to do that because we don't want to get in front of the vote. Okay?
Thank you, appreciate it.
Rebecca Jones, Legal Department. I do think that you need to make a motion to actually add it to the agenda for March 12th.
Yeah, I thought we were going to handle it as an informal walk-on.
If there's no objection
Yeah,
by Mr. Stocco representing the union, if we know that, and if there's no objection by the administration and on council's recommendation, Ms. John's recommendation, I would agree that that is probably the best practice with regard to notice to the public.
Yeah, it's just different than what Chief Bennett and I had, Chief Bennett had reached out to discuss with me, because he didn't want to get in front of the union's vote.
And I don't believe that's anybody's intention.
And if it doesn't go through for some reason, we can remove it from the
Okay.
agenda.
Yeah, at least
Then
we
let's-
have it
then
as a
let's- okay.
placeholder.
I have a
And
motion to
also,
place.
Council, if I can, Martin Shelby, City Council Attorney, just also that gives the opportunity for notice to the public, and before you move it and adopt it, because it's a final action, you'll have to give the public the opportunity to comment on it if that's their desire.
I get it, and again, this was, I think, the reason why I was one of my background in labor, and Chief Bennett reaching out to me to ask that. That's where I think we're proceeding with an extra level of cautiousness on protocol with the labor union, and still wanting to keep them whole and keep the administration, give them the latitude they need to get everything in place to implement the changes.
And I was in on that call, and
Yeah.
at the time, it did seem like that was the
Right.
practice that was going to be adopted, but after discussion.
I have not spoken to him about that, so if that was your conversation with him, then you can.
Why don't we hold this vote and you guys coordinate with the chief and then find out what the plan, and with the union and find out what the plan is?
As long
And
as
then-
there's no objection, we can come
Yeah.
back to it.
I object.
What?
May I?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't like it when the administration walks on items. I would much rather the public get a chance, and with apologies to the union or the negotiators in advance, we can always pull this off, but for the public's sake, I think we should try to avoid walk-ons.
Do you want me to get in
wouldn't
touch
mind.
with him and I can come back
Yeah,
today?
why don't we just hold this till after lunch? And just
Okay.
let's so at least we're all clear. Councilwoman Hurtak.
I agree with Councilman Carlson. I just think we should set it, and then we can always take it off if it doesn't pass. But I agree, the public, as soon as possible, needs to be aware of it. And
And my
to be
underst-
on the agenda with the background information.
And my understanding is that the draft agenda would be released tomorrow. Am I correct in that?
That is correct, and this would be my recommendation. I could work with Rebecca Johns on language to put on the agenda for the title. Nothing would be in the background, of course, but just work on the title, just so that it'll appear on the draft, and then that will avoid any numbering issues as well.
And if we know by 4 o'clock, I don't think the draft agenda comes out before then, so I can get in touch with Suling immediately as soon as we know, to know whether to actually put it on the agenda or not.
Okay, so why don't, Councilman Maniscalco, can we take this motion? A motion to place the language that the clerk will work on to hold the number and the place on the agenda, the language with, and then when we know, we'll fill in the background information. So,
Wait till after lunch, or you want the motion now?
well, I think we're kind of, it seems as though this sends us to go, so, yeah.
So the motion is to place this, would it be the collective bargaining
Collective
agreement?
bargaining agreement
The
with
bargaining
the-
agreement with the fire union on the May 12th evening agenda. I'm sorry, I'm waiting for summer. On the March 12th evening agenda, right after the commendation that we have already listed.
Okay. We have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Miranda, Councilman Carlson.
Suling, is there anything else we need to say so that you can put draft or whatever on there? Is that?
Not at this time. I'll work with Rebecca
Okay.
for a title, and then once I receive the information,
Okay, thank you.
And just also, you all know that clerk's office is working much more closely with the chair's office on these agenda items anyway, so we're communicating closely on these things. Okay, very good.
Thank
Anything,
you.
anything else?
That's it. Well,
Yeah,
for
and
us.
now we get part B.
No, we have to vote on it.
Oh, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Part B. Administrative update B.
Janelle McGregor, Director of Community Engagement and Partnerships. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Chair and Council, to speak about the Social Action and Arts Fund, also known as SAF. We wanted just to provide you with a quick update on what's taking place so far in advance of the financial resolution that you'll also hear shortly. So over the past few years, we've had several very dedicated employees who have worked very meticulously on top of their regular duties to disperse and manage millions of dollars to our local nonprofits. Recently, we centralized the SAF program under the Community Engagement and Partnerships portfolio so that we can increase our efficiencies and be able to not only assist our internal colleagues, but to make sure that those agencies that we're supporting are getting the level of service that they deserve as well. So in addition to centralizing the SAF program in community engagement and partnerships, we also have a dedicated program coordinator, Andrew Ellman, a familiar face to all of you who you'll hear from shortly as well. So with this centralization also comes added quality assurance. So now with that program coordinator and having just one point of contact for all the organizations, we'll be able to come back to council as a body to share in good faith, how these invested dollars are being put to use and making sure that they are being used to leverage and improve the quality assurance for the people in the communities that we serve. So we're very excited about this opportunity to work with these nonprofits. Many of them we already work with alongside them. And just, again, being able to come back to council and to the public with a report card, so to speak, of how these dollars are being invested and being put to work for the people in the communities we serve is something that we're definitely looking forward to as well. So I'd also like to bring up my team member, Andrew Ellman, who is going to share with you the next steps pending the approval of the financial resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Start with your name.
Andrew Ellman, Office of Community Engagement and Partnerships. Thank you, Janelle. As she mentioned, there will be a resolution coming in front of you guys later today that will finalize the list of all of the organizations under SAF for fiscal year 2026. That will include 58 organizations totaling $1.5 million, broken into 3 tiers. So tier 1 is $10,000 and under, which is a one-time payment. Tier 2 is $10,001 to $24,999. being quarterly payments, and tier 3 being anything over $25,000, also being quarterly payments. I'm available if you guys have any questions. Thank you very much.
Councilman Moscato.
Thank you for all your hard work. I know our office has reached out to you regarding certain nonprofits. You're always very responsive, and we miss you here, and we're glad to see you again. And again, best of luck to you. You're doing a great job.
He does not speak for all of us.
No.
Andrew wouldn't know what it was like if I was saying something nice, right? Councilman Carlson.
Yeah, it's good that we never had a proper goodbye party for you.
You guys ate my cake.
You guys ate my cake.
Well, so we're going to move right into adopting of the financial resolution. I want to, and I'm probably not going to be popular for saying this, but the process.
Forgive me, Mr. Chairman. Martin Shelby, City Council Attorney. I just confirmed with the clerk there is nothing for you to vote on. She does not have a copy of the resolution. Later today. It would be later today. At some point, they'll
they
have
haven't
to walk
submitted it
on.
yet?
What?
They didn't submit it?
No, that's my understanding. I asked the clerk because the public is not aware of it. We wanted to be able, if it's final action.
It was a walk-on.
Even if it's a walk-on, we have to be able to have a presentation. The public should have the opportunity. Of course, it's something that we can cure easily if there's an issue. But the other thing is, I just wanted to ask, as a matter of fact, I just asked the clerk if she has anything filed, and she said no. So my suggestion is that there's nothing for you.
Hold on.
Correct, I do have the email from yesterday afternoon that Lauren Hernandez, it was emailed at 7:17 p.m.
So 7:17 p.m., there is something that you have that you're able to accept? Okay.
Because I got it. Do you have a copy of it, or do you need to borrow mine?
I do not have a copy of it on me. I apologize.
Well, the clerk will be able to take it.
Yeah, but
Oh,
we
she's gonna
don't
put
show
it-
it to the public.
That's true.
And just for clarification, this financial resolution is based on the conversation that was held a couple meetings ago when there was the additional allotment of money to several of the organizations and the addition of 2 organizations, I believe.
We'll pause for a minute so you can take a peek. I think everybody's concerned about the general fund money and the table of dollars more than the text.
Yeah, can you scooch it up?
Yep.
Oh, thank you.
Is there another, it looks like there's another page, is there not?
There is.
Yes.
There is, that's page 1 of 2 here, I believe.
Y'all should have received that in your email last night. Councilman Carlson.
Just to add to what she said, we spent 2 hours or so talking about this before, and the public also weighed in, so this is not a new list.
Correct. This information reflects what was presented by Ms. Kopesky during a previous council meeting.
Okay. Well, I want to say, again, because as we start looking towards FY27, this started off really strong in council's intent, and then it kind of spiraled out of control. You know, in the end, I think we need to be more striking at strategic goals of the city. And I know Councilman Carlson spoke to this numerous times as well. As we look into FY27 and what we're supporting, I think we also have to make sure that these nonprofits or people that we've historically supported understand that it's just because we have necessarily seen, we will in future dates. Because I think we've all received those emails that people are surprised that they didn't get funding. So somehow, if I could ask your department, one of y'all, to reach out to anybody that we're providing funding, to let them understand that this is only one fiscal year, and it does not imply that future support or funding by the city of Tampa, and that next year, whatever that process will be, it will be. Because I don't want anybody to be surprised. Nobody likes to be surprised. So. Councilwoman Hurtak.
And I just wanted to, while we're on the subject, just remind folks that we are going to have a city council workshop session about this on May 28th. Just really about how a discussion of strategy, not funding specific organizations, but how we do a strategy. So I think we're all looking forward to that conversation. It's a good time now to go ahead and get your ideas and thoughts and ducks in a row. And I know we can talk to Mr. Ellman about that and Ms. Kopesky leading up to that to have a really robust discussion. So looking forward to that, and I agree.
Okay, very good. Any other comments? Councilwoman Young?
No, just to say, I've worked in nonprofit for many years, and so I'm a strong supporter of nonprofits and the work they do, and I'm looking forward to that meeting. Because I think, you want to be, when you're working in your nonprofit, you want to see, okay, how am I filling in the gaps of what city or county can't do? And so we were always looking at, okay, where is the gap and how can we fill that in? And we always have our backup and plan B, because we know that funding is not always guaranteed. Although I will say, as a nonprofit executive, funding is always a great thing to have. But I think it'll be a really good, robust conversation. And so I'm just happy that we are funding our nonprofits, because I know all of these on this list provide a lot of services in our city, in our community, with our youth, whether it's with our seniors. I mean, so many different things. So I think this is a really good thing that we're doing as a city, and I appreciate us for doing this.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hurtak.
I just want to remove the resolution.
Okay, so we have a motion to move the financial resolution from Councilwoman Hurtak, a second from Councilman Maniscalco. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Motion carried with Carlson being absent at vote.
Thank you. I think we have time. We have, this should be a quick one. 71 exactly. Carl Brody.
Good morning, Carl Brody from Legal. I have before you today a draft, and this is just a proposed draft ordinance. I want to be clear. I did work with Councilman Vieira some on putting some language together for a Veterans Affairs Committee, but as you know, because of the Sunshine Law, I can't work with each of you and have it done as a collaborative. That's what today is for, just for you to see kind of the outline of what we believe would be an effective ordinance that would provide or create a Veterans Affairs Committee, which would be primarily responsible for ceremonial activities, but also be able to coordinate with other veterans organizations in the community and bring more awareness to veterans for the city. So this is kind of a good time for us to talk and figure out what language you think and how you think it should be structured.
Well, this is submitted to in our email just like 2 days ago, right? We got this? Did we get this already?
Anybody want to?
Well, I mean, so have you emailed this to us?
Yeah, yes, it was provided
Yeah, that's what
previously.
I didn't know if it was just me, that's why.
No, no, no.
Yeah, well, okay, but I'm confused because I was expecting that we were just going to have a motion to accept the draft.
That's also an option.
Yeah, well, you were
That's
just saying
also
it's just a draft. I didn't know if you if you anticipated there was more work to be done, or from staff's perspective.
No, not from staff's perspective, just to make sure that all the members of council were comfortable with the ordinance
Are all
that
the
was
members of
created.
council comfortable with this?
Yeah,
Councilman Vieira?
thank you, Mr. Chair. No, and thank you, Mr. Brody, for your work on this. This is great. I mean, I think this is marvelous, and my vision was to have something kind of like we have the Hispanic Advisory Board, African American Advisory Board, something like this, and especially like you said for ceremonies, because years ago the city would kind of defer to the county on a lot of these things, I think, on Purple Heart Day, Memorial Day, and so forth. And I think we ought to have our own, nothing separate from the county, but in addition to what the county does. I go to the county things as well. I think they're all wonderful. But to have a board that is appointed by council that does this, I think is great. So that we can kind of take the lead in doing these either in the courtyard or wherever it may be. I know in September we're going to be having the Lieutenant Baldomero Lopez statue that's going to be coming at Waterworks. We're very excited about that, and maybe we can get the committee up and running by then. I know a lot of good people who would want to be a part of it and everything. So no, I support this, and this is wonderful. So thank you.
Would you like to move that?
If I may, I move.
If I can.
Councilman Marty Shelby.
Martin Shelby, City Council Attorney. So the motion would then be to place this on a future agenda. What is the next available date?
April 2nd.
Can we do it by the 2nd? Mr. Brody?
Oh, absolutely. That would be for first reading?
First reading.
Correct, yeah, we can have that for first reading.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Vieira to place this on the
Thank
April
you.
2nd agenda. Second from Councilman Maniscalco. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we are done early. I don't think we can accomplish anything else before lunch. We at 1:30 be prepared for a review hearing, and then the rest of the staff reports, and I anticipate hopefully. Yeah, hopefully we'll be out early. We are going to be at lunch until, let's get here a little bit early, 1:25, just a few minutes early.
Yeah.
1:25. 1:25. We're at lunch.